Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to more Epstein Files narration. Net Narrator here, as always. Sorry, I'm a little late. I was doing session 0 for a gaming character, because I need to do things other than my day job of reading stuff, and of course reading this. Anyway, as always, if I just bring up my script, I fully intend for any proceeds gained from this content and my other Epstein coverage to go to Speak Out, Act, Reclaim, SAW, founded by Virginia Guthrie, now deceased. And while the organisation is not currently accepting donations and I was unable to set up any official fundraiser via YouTube, I will donate the proceedings when possible, or to a similar organisation if not. Proof of this will be released when I do so. So I'll allow SAW a decent amount of time just to... I'll monitor SAW just to see if they do accept public donations, because that is my preferred organisation I want to send the money to from these Epstein streams. If not, I'll let you guys know, and together we can find a suitable substitute for that, and I'll show the receipts of me donating to that charity, because I very much identify with their cause. And we are starting off with dataset 6. We finished dataset 5, and we finished dataset 4. Yesterday. So this dataset 6 is also quite short. It is about, I want to say about 400 or 500 files long. But this does cover, as you can see here, a little bit more writing. So I'm hopeful that we can go for this quickly. Done well before we get to the end. Can I do 500 pages in like a couple of hours? I guess we'll see. But we'll try and do that, and then we'll start with dataset 7. But as always, I'm just looking to read the entire thing. I'm not here to throw specific shade at Trump. I'm not here to throw specific shade at Clinton. I just want to throw specific shade at any and all of the perpetrators, and I want justice for the victims. That is my only goal from this. That, and because nobody else is mad or stupid enough to narrate the entire thing. I think the thing is like 3.5 million files, people are saying. Yeah, we're on file 8,529, according to this. But a lot of these files are blank pages, a lot of them are heavy redactions. So, I'm not too worried. And I'm certainly going to give it, if it turns out I won't be able to do it, I'll certainly have given it a good crack. Anyway, let's make a start. I hope you're all doing well tonight. I hope you're all a bit more productive than me. Maybe a lot of you guys are working security jobs, trucking, what have you. Doesn't matter. Come listen to my stuff, and I'll make it a little bit better if I can. Anyway, United States Grand Jury, Southern District of New York. United States of America v. Jeffrey Epstein, 201-8R01618, August 23rd, 2008 additional. United States Courthouse, Foley Square, New York, New York, June 18th, 2019, 12:57 p.m. Appearances: 3 redactions, Assistant United States Attorney. Redacted Acting Grand Jury Reporter. Timestamp at the bottom: Free State Reporting Inc., Court Reporting Transcription, DC Area, 301-261-1902. Bolt and ANAP, 410-974-0947. Hello, Clara. So yes, you will probably see my kitties hopping about. They like to do that. As you can see, Dexter... I'll move out of the way a little bit better than that. As you can see... Oh no, Dexter is not there. My bad, I'm an idiot. Dexter is actually sitting on the floor outside the corridor. Clara is right here, drinking some water, and she's actually recoiling from my touch. She never does that. But yeah. So if I get distracted, that's the reason why. Colloquy proceeds. Witness enters room. Time noted, 1:08 p.m. Redacted called as witness, having been duly sworn by the foreperson of the grand jury, was examined and testified as follows. By Ms. Redacted. So this is a Q&A format, so I'm not going to bother saying the Q's and A's because these are repeats, but perhaps I can instead inflect my voice a little bit to reflect the change. Good afternoon, Special Agent Redacted. Answer, good afternoon. Q. Could you please state and spell your full name for the record? A. Redacted. Where do you currently work? The FBI. What is your title there? Special Agent. How long have you worked as a Special Agent for the FBI? For over 2 years. Where are you currently assigned? The Violent Crimes Against Children Squad. What are your duties and responsibilities as a special agent on that squad? I work child exploitation and human trafficking matters. We also work international and parental kidnappings. Have you participated in an investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and his associates? Yes. Have you spoken with other people, including other law enforcement officers, about this investigation? Yes. Have you received reports and documents prepared by others regarding this case? Yes. Is your testimony today based in part of those conversations with other law enforcement officers and documents that you received? Yes. MS. Redacted. Or misredacted, I should say. I presume this is somebody overseeing the interview. Unless it's part of the court proceeding. So this is like a court transcript. Ooh. Demon Deity 9816. This is not a crossover I was expecting. This is the 19th stream I've done covering the Epstein stuff. I've been doing this for a little while, but I can understand. It's not a big draw. I can understand why people are only just seeing this for the first time in some cases. So MS redacted, or misredacted. So ladies and gentlemen, some of the testimony that you're going to hear today will include hearsay. As you know, that means that the witness will not be testifying solely from her own observations, but that she'll also be reporting what others have told her, and what she has read in reports and documents prepared by others. Hearsay evidence is admissible in these grand jury proceedings, and you're free to rely on it in determining whether there is probable cause to indict any proposed defendants, if we end up returning to present a proposed indictment. If, however, you would like to hear the testimony of any other witnesses, you have the right to request it, and we will make reasonable efforts to bring that witness before you. By Ms. Redacted. So, Special Agent Redacted, I'm placing in front of you what's been marked as Grand Jury Exhibit 1. Do you recognize that? Yes. What is that? It's a presentation that was prepared to assist in testifying today. And did you participate in preparing that exhibit? Yes. And would it assist you in testifying today? Yes. Okay. So we'll make that part of the record for today. Let me begin by just asking you a few questions about Jeffrey Epstein and what you've learned. Can you tell us, how old is Jeffrey Epstein? He is 66. Based on an open source reporting, what have you learned about Jeffrey Epstein's professional background? He's a wealthy individual that has a background as a money manager, background in finance, working in investments. Is that what's been published and you reported about him? Yes. During the course of your investigation, have you learned where Epstein maintains residences? Yes. Where does he have residences? He has a residence here in Manhattan, along with Palm Beach, Virgin Islands, and New Mexico. Does he maintain an address in Manhattan located at 9 East 71st Street? Yes. If we could turn to slide 2, does that fairly and accurately depict the residence? Yes. Could you please describe that property for the grand jury? It's a multi-story residence. It's reportedly the largest residence in Manhattan. It's right near Central Park. Does Epstein also maintain an address in Palm Beach, Florida, located at 358 El Brillo Way? Yes. Turning to slide 3, does that fairly and accurately depict that residence? Yes. Could you please describe that property for the grand jury? It's a villa in Palm Beach, right on the water. Has an in-ground pool along with a guest residence or apartment connected to it. I want to turn now and talk to you about some of the witnesses you've interviewed during your investigation. During the course of this investigation, have you participated in interviews with an individual named Redacted? Yes. For today's purpose, I'm just going to refer to her as Redacted. How many times have you interviewed Redacted? We've spoken to her approximately 5 times. Turning to the next slide. Are these photographs of Redacted? Yes. Did she tell you approximately how old she was when both of these photographs were taken? Yes. What did she tell you? The photo on the left, she was approximately 13 years old, and the photo on the right, she would have been 17 years old. What is Redacted's date of birth? Redacted. In addition to your participation in interviews with Redacted, have you also reviewed reports from other law enforcement officers who've interviewed Redacted? Yes. And is your testimony today based on both your review of those reports and also your personal participation in interviews with Redacted? Yes. Foreperson, can you speak up a little more? Can you speak up a little bit more, I should say. Okay, thanks. By Ms. Redacted. Okay. So, based on your participation in this investigation, have you learned where Redacted was living when she was about 14 years old? Yes. Where was she living? She was living in Redacted.
Was she living with her parents?
No, not at that time.
Why not?
She had a difficult home life.
Was she going to school?
She had started and dropped out.
About when did she drop out of school?
The beginning of her freshman year, a few months into her freshman year approximately.
And at about this time, how was she supporting herself financially, in general?
She worked different jobs. She worked in catering halls, as a waitress in restaurants and in clubs.
Did there come a time when Redacted learned about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
How did that first happen?
She met a girl named Redacted who told her that she could make money if she massaged this rich guy.
And when she heard that from Redacted, how did she respond?
She wanted to make money, so she agreed.
What did she agree to do?
She agreed to go to his residence and massage him.
Did Redacted recall about how old she was when she first went to his residence?
She said she was approximately 14.
If Redacted was born in 1988, would she have been 14 in the year 2002?
Yes.
And just to confirm, the date of birth listed on this slide, is that Redacted date of birth?
Yes.
So you testified that she ultimately went to his residence. Which residence was that?
The one here in Manhattan.
About how many times did she go to Epstein's residence?
Multiple times. Dozens.
During the time she went to Epstein's residence in Manhattan, did she tell you about what typically would happen when she would go to his house?
Yes.
What are some of the things that she told you about what happened there?
So the first time she went with Redacted, and she entered the residence. They waited in the office until they were escorted upstairs to the massage room. Once in the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein came into the room. He lay down on the table. Once he was on the table, a girl massaged each side, and then Redacted would be asked to leave the room. Redacted would stay. From there, once he turned over, he wanted his nipples pinched while he masturbated. Things progressed each additional time she went. She would have to massage him while she was in her panties or without underwear or any clothes on. And then eventually he would touch her. He touched her breasts, her genital area, and then used a vibrator on her genital area.
Did Redacted tell you how much she was paid for each of these sessions?
Yes.
How was she paid?
$300.
Was she paid in cash?
Yes.
Did she remember anything in particular about the way he paid her in cash?
She was paid in $100 bills.
During your interviews with Redacted, what was her demeanor like when she would describe to you how Epstein touched her during these sessions?
She became more emotional. The more she had to talk about some of the worst things that happened to her, she became upset about it.
You were explaining earlier that Redacted said she was approximately 14 when this began. Did she tell you whether she had any conversations with Epstein about her age?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She said she told him she was 14.
Have you asked Redacted what Epstein's house was like?
Yes.
How did she describe it to you?
She gave a lot of detail about the house. She talked about the office having a round desk in it. She talked about the massage room, had the massage table, it had lotions, it had moisturizers. On the walls there were sketches or paintings of naked females on them. And she also talked about a library in his residence that looked like it was something from out of Beauty and the Beast.
Is that how she described it to you?
Yes.
So we've been talking about what you've learned during interviews with Redacted. Just to take a step back, how did you first establish contact with her?
My partner and I located her at her residence.
What did she say to you when you first approached her?
She was very nervous when we first talked to her, and she told us that she was 16. She went and massaged Epstein, and he masturbated and he didn't touch her.
And again, what was her demeanor like when she said this to you?
She was very nervous. Redacted. She was just very anxious while we were speaking to her.
Were you able to conduct a full interview of her at the time?
No.
At a later point, were you able to conduct full and thorough interviews with her?
Yes.
And once you finally were able to interview her, did you ask her why she said that when you first approached her?
Yes.
What did she explain to you?
She told us that she didn't even really remember what she had told us initially because she was so nervous. She was so worried. She was really concerned that if she talked to us, she was going to go to jail. So she was really worried about being in trouble.
Did there come a point in time where Epstein asked Redacted to bring other girls to him?
Yes.
What happened?
She did. I reached out to other girls that she knew to see their interest. Clara, don't go there.
I want to ask you a little bit about what Redacted told you about her role in bringing other girls to Epstein. Let me first just ask, in general, how would she find new girls? She would meet them through friends of friends. She met them in clubs, different social gatherings.
Hey, Clara, stop it. Don't scratch the carpet. No.
A little bit of a naughty cat there. In general, what kinds of things would she tell them about what to expect?
No, right, you're out and you're misbehaving. Out, 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 out. Sorry, cat. You're going to have to time out for a little bit. Alright, you're hiding under there. That's fine. Dexter's been good. Dexter's right next to me. He's sitting down, he's not doing anything. But yeah, Clara should not be scratching at the carpet. Oh, you're getting really, really excitable. Kittens apparently get that way within 6 months, and they do eventually mellow out. I think Dexter's already mellowed out, but Clara is very, very nutty, I should say. Anyway, I was going to say, in general, what kind of things would she tell them about what to expect? And the answer, she told them that they would have to give a massage either with their underwear on or nude, that he would want his nipples touched, and that he would masturbate. So exactly the same stuff he got in trouble for in Florida. He just picked up and did it again the moment he got free. Yeah. Would she tell them about anything about payment? Yes. What would she tell them? She told them that they would get $300 for massaging him. Did Redacted have a sense in general of the ages of the girls that she brought to Epstein? She estimated around approximately 13, 14-year-olds to 17-year-olds. They were mostly underage girls that she brought. She did bring a couple that were 18. Approximately how long did she participate in bringing girls to Epstein? Approximately 3 years of the 3 years that she went. So approximately how old was she when this stopped? 17. During that time period, over those 3 years approximately, did she have a sense of about how many girls she brought over the years to Epstein's house? She estimated approximately 20 to 50 girls. Did she work with anyone else in recruiting girls for Epstein? Yes. Who did she work with? Another girl her age. Redacted. PH. Who is Redacted? She was a friend of Redacted's that was living with her at the time. Turning to slide 5, did Redacted provide you with this photograph? Yes. And what did she explain to you about this photograph? That's Redacted on the left and that's Redacted on the right. They were approximately 16 years old at the time that picture was taken. And during this time period, around the time when this photograph was taken, when they were approximately 16, is that when they were working recruiting girls for Epstein? Yes. In general, when Redacted would find a girl, how would she go about bringing the girl to Epstein? She would call who she believed was his, or she assumed was his assistant, a woman named Redacted. Why would she call? She would call Redacted and say, I have a girl who can work, and they would schedule that appointment. In conversations with Redacted, is that how they refer to these massage sessions as work? Yes. Once the session was scheduled, would Redacted go with the girl to the house? Yes. What would she do, in general, once she brought the girl to the house? So the first time she would take a girl, they would go to the residence. They wait in the office until they could be escorted upstairs. The first time she would go with a girl, she would go up with her so the girl felt comfortable and kind of knew what to do. Additional visits after that, she would wait downstairs while the girl did the massage upstairs. Did Epstein ever give feedback to Redacted about the girls that she was bringing? Yes. Would he ever tell her that he particularly liked or didn't like a specific girl? Yes. And would he ever tell her to bring a specific girl back or to not bring her back for other sessions? Yes. Over time, did she notice any patterns in the girls that Epstein seemed to like? She did. What did she notice? That he liked young, petite, natural girls. What did she mean by natural girls? The girls that were under 18 weren't completely developed. Fucking Christ. Did she recall any particular expressions that Epstein would use to express his preferences when he was giving her feedback about girls that she had brought? I'm sorry, say that again. In your conversations with Redacted, did she recall any particular expressions or phrases that Epstein would use when he was explaining what girls he did or didn't like? Yeah. He would tell her, you know what I like. If she brought someone he didn't like, he'd be like, come on, you know what I like. What was her understanding of what that meant? She understood that to mean girls who were under 18.
Did Redacted tell you how much Epstein paid her for recruiting other girls?
Yes.
And how much did he pay her? $300. And was that for each new girl or for every session with the new girl when she brought her in?
That was for each new girl and every session that she went with whatever girl.
We talked a little bit about phone calls between Redacted and Redacted, but I want to circle back and just talk about that in a little bit more detail. Can you explain for the grand jury, in general, how would Redacted schedule these sessions?
She would schedule the sessions through Redacted. Redacted would either contact her on the phone, or she would reach out to Redacted and say she could work.
And just to be clear, did Redacted ever call Redacted?
Yes.
In sum and substance, what are some of the kinds of things that she would discuss on the phone with Redacted?
When she'd be available to massage him. They talk about what girls. Redacted would ask her, do you have a new girl? Things along those lines.
Approximately how old was Redacted when she stopped going to Epstein's house?
Around 17.
Did she explain to you why she stopped going?
She said that the older she got, she was having a more difficult time finding younger girls that he preferred. And at that time, she was also working at a cafe.
Alright. So I want to switch gears and talk about another witness that you've interviewed. Before I do, I just want to be clear. We've been talking about some of the things that Redacted has explained to you in your interviews. When you've been describing what she's told you, were those the exact words that she used in every interview, or just the sum and substance of what she's relayed to you?
Sum and substance.
During the course of this investigation, have you participated in interviews with an individual named Redacted?
Yes.
So for today's purposes, I'm just going to refer to her as Redacted. Can you tell us, how many times have you interviewed Redacted?
Twice.
Have you also received reports from previous law enforcement interviews with Courtney?
Should this name be redacted? They fucked up. And I better zoom that in a little bit more for you. Yeah, this is, that's not good. That should have been a redacted name, I suspect, because that's a victim. Yes.
Is your testimony today based both on your review of those reports and also your personal participation and interviews with Redacted?
Yes.
Okay, if we could turn to the next slide. Slide 6, is this a photograph of Redacted?
Yes.
Approximately how old was Redacted when this photograph was taken, if you know?
Approximately 19.
Oh, there. Clara's behaving now. What is Redacted's date of birth?
Redacted.
Based on your participation and interviews with Redacted, have you learned where she was living when she was about 14 or 15?
Yes.
Where was she living?
She was living with a friend of her. Redacted.
Was that in the West Palm Beach area in Florida?
Yes.
You mentioned that she was living with a friend. To be clear, was she living with her parents during that time?
No.
Why not?
She had a difficult home life.
Was she in school at that time?
She had started high school and dropped out.
Did there come a time when Redacted learned about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
How did she learn about Epstein?
She and Redacted were at a party together, and another girl their age had approached them, telling them that they could make $200 to massage a rich guy in West Palm Beach.
How did she respond when she heard that?
She agreed to it.
Did she end up going to Epstein's residence in Palm Beach, Florida?
Yes.
About how many times did she go to the residence?
Approximately 60 times.
When she first started going to the house, did she ever go there with any of her friends?
Yes.
Who did she go there with?
She went with Redacted and other friends throughout the additional times.
Was Redacted approximately the same age as Redacted?
Yes.
Did Redacted recall approximately how old she was when she first went to Epstein's house?
Yes.
Did she remember the exact age?
No.
What did she tell you about what she was able to remember, about how old she was?
She said she recalled it was the summer before her 9th grade year, but that she could have been 14, 15. She was unsure.
In interviews previously, had she mentioned that it's possible she might have been 16?
Yes.
But was her most recent memory that she met him at approximately 14 or 15, but that she wasn't sure?
Yes.
So if Redacted was born in 1987, would she have been 14 or 15 in about the year 2002?
Yes.
Alright. During the times that Redacted went to Epstein's residence in Palm Beach, did she explain to you what would typically happen when she went to Epstein's house?
Yes.
What did she describe to you about, in general, the kinds of things that would happen when she would go to his house?
So she explained that she would go to the residence, she'd be escorted upstairs. Sometimes it was with a friend. Each girl would massage the side of Epstein, one girl would leave.
Things that happened in the room, redacted, described that Epstein would want his nipples touched, he would masturbate, and he would touch her. She said that usually the massages were done when she was only in her underwear. Has she ever described Epstein using a vibrator or a sex toy?
Yes.
What did she describe? She said that he used a vibrator on her genital area. During these massages, would Epstein ever instruct her to use lotions?
Yes.
Did she identify what brand of lotions Epstein used?
Bath and Body Works.
You explained that when she would go to the house, she would either go upstairs or be escorted upstairs. Can you explain for the grand jury, when she would arrive at the house, was she ever greeted by anyone?
She was usually greeted by Epstein's assistant, redacted.
And did redacted ever escort her upstairs to the massage room?
Yes.
Did redacted tell you what she was paid each time that she went to Epstein's house?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She was paid $200.
How was she paid the $200?
$100 bills.
Did there come a point in time when Epstein asked redacted to bring other girls to him?
Yes.
Did she agree to do that?
She did.
I want to ask you a little bit about redacted's role in recruiting other girls to bring into Epstein. Can you explain for the grand jury, in general, how would she find new girls to bring to Epstein?
She found them at parties or in the neighborhood she was living at the time with redacted. She described it as a trailer park environment that she brought girls from, but some were school, when she was still there, and then just parties.
In general, what kinds of things would she tell the girls about what to expect?
Initially, she told them that they were just going to give a massage and get paid.
And did she have a sense, in general, about the range of age of girls that she would bring to the house over time?
Under 18. She did say she brought a couple that were over 18 and he wasn't happy about it.
I'm going to ask you a little more... How we do that? I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that in a second, but just so we're clear, was her sense, in general, that of the girls she brought to the residence over time, that most of them she thought were under 18?
Yes.
Approximately how many girls did she estimate that she had brought over the years, approximately?
Dozens.
In general, what would happen when she would bring the girl to Epstein?
She would go with the girl. They'd be escorted upstairs. The first time she went with a girl, they would massage him together. Once Epstein flipped over to when he was laying on his back, he would tell redacted to leave and the other girl would stay and massage while redacted went downstairs. Did Epstein ever give redacted feedback on the girls that she had brought? Yes.
Would he ever tell her whether he liked or didn't like a specific girl?
Yes.
Would he ever ask her to bring a certain girl back, or to not bring another girl back?
Yes.
Did she notice over time any patterns in the girls that Epstein seemed to like?
Yes.
What did she notice?
That he liked young girls, young petite girls.
And did she notice whether he appeared to have any preferences in the race of the girls that she was bringing?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
He did not like dark-skinned or black girls.
Did she recall him using any particular expressions when he would convey his preferences to her?
Yes.
What would he say?
He told her, "You know what I like."
What was her understanding of what that meant?
She understood that to mean that he liked under 18.
When redacted first went to Epstein's house, did she tell Epstein that she was older than she really was?
Yes.
Why did she tell him she was older than she really was?
One of the girls told her to say that she was older than she was.
When she started recruiting girls, did she tell them to say that they were older?
Yes.
Did there come a point in time when she stopped giving girls that instruction?
Yes.
Why did she stop doing that?
She said because it didn't matter. He didn't care how old they were as long as they weren't over 18.
Why did she think he didn't care about whether the girls were over 18 or not?
Because she said he had preferred under 18 and that's what he wanted her to bring.
Why did she think that that was what he preferred?
Because that's what he told her. You know what I like. And she understood that to mean under 18.
Did redacted tell you how much Epstein paid her for recruiting other girls?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
$200.
Was that for each new girl or for every time she brought in?
Every time she brought the girl.
And did redacted explain to you how she would schedule these sessions with Epstein?
Yes.
How did that work?
So she would be contacted by redacted or she would call redacted to schedule appointments.
What was her understanding of who redacted was?
She understood her to be his assistant.
In general, in sum and substance, what would they discuss on these phone calls?
She would tell redacted what the girls looked like. She would tell them when they would be available. She'd also tell them when they wouldn't be available based on their school or after-curricular activities, extracurricular.
During these calls, how would redacted refer to the sessions that they were scheduling?
As work.
Can you give us an example of how that would be used in a sentence?
That she would just say, "Are you available to work?" or "Do you have a girl that's available to work?"
During these phone calls about scheduling, did Sarah ever say where she was calling from?
Yes.
What did Redacted remember about that?
Redacted recalled Redacted saying that she was calling from New York and they'd be coming down to West Palm Beach.
Okay, switching gears. Have you become aware that in a separate investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, a witness said in about 2005 that she'd recruited minor victims for Epstein, but that she'd also brought some girls who were over 18 and that Epstein told her, quote, "the younger the better." And that she also said, quote, "he likes the girls that are between the ages of 18 and 20.
Yes.
Alright, switching topics. Have you become aware that in 2005, police officers from the Palm Beach Police Department executed a search warrant at Epstein's house at the El Way address in Palm Beach?
Yes.
And have you reviewed some of the materials that were seized during the search?
Yes.
Did they find a massage table and sex toys?
Yes.
Did they find any phone messages?
Yes.
Turning to slide 7, could you please explain for the grand jury what we're looking at here?
This is a room in his Palm Beach residence. Down here on the close right corner, you're going to see massage pads.
So are those notepads for taking phone massages?
Yes. Or phone messages, sorry. And I think the above one was message pads, my bad.
And in the message pads, was there just one message per page, or were there 4, laid out 2 on top and 2 on the bottom?
There were 4, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom.
The message pad that we're looking at in this photograph, was that the only set of messages that were recovered from the residence?
No.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about some of the phone messages that were found in the house. Let's turn to slide 8. Could you walk us through what we're looking at here?
So this message is dated September 30th, 2004. Redacted's name is on it, and in the message it says, "She has a female for Mr. J.E."
So given the date on this message, if this message had been left by Redacted, given her date of birth, would she have been about 16 years old when this message was left?
Yes.
Let's turn to slide 9. What are we looking at here?
This is a message that's dated November 8th, 2004. Redacted is on the message, and in the message it says, "I have a female for him."
Do you recognize this particular phone number?
Yes.
Based on your review of law enforcement reports, has Redacted previously identified this as her phone number?
Yes.
Based on the date of this particular phone message and Redacted's date of birth, how would she have been about 17? Or would she have been about 17 when this message was left?
Yes.
Let's turn to slide 10. So we've been looking at some of the excerpts of the phone message. Is this a full page of phone messages?
Yes.
And do they all have dates on them?
No.
Which one has a date on it?
Upper left-hand slide. Side, I should say.
And is that November 11th, 2004?
Yes.
So can you tell when these messages were approximately left?
Approximately, yes.
But beyond the fact that one of them is dated, you're not sure?
Correct.
Okay, can you walk us through what we see here on this message pad?
So, bottom right, Redacted is listed. On the top right, Redacted, PH is listed, and it says, "Wondering if you want her to work tomorrow and what time."
So the message on the bottom, marked Redacted, doesn't have a date on it. But if these messages were left in approximately November of 2004, based on Redacted's date of birth, would she have been about 17 when this message was left?
Yes.
Alright, turning to slide 11. What do we see here?
So this message was dated January 13th, 2005. Redacted is listed on the message along with her phone number, and it just states, "Please call her."
Based on your review of law enforcement reports, has Redacted previously identified this phone number as being one of her phone numbers during that time period?
Yes.
Based on the date of this message and Redacted's date of birth, would Redacted have been about Redacted? Oh no, been about 17 years old when this was left? This is the Redacted heading, sorry.
Yes.
Let's turn to slide 12. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
This message is dated January 29th, 2005. Redacted's name is on this message, along with her phone number. And in the message it says, "I have a female for him."
Based on the date of this message and Redacted's date of birth, would she have been about 17 when this message was left?
Yes.
Let's turn to slide 13. This message is a bit more faint, so if you could just walk the grand jury through this message.
So this message has Redacted listed on it, along with her phone number. And in the message it says, "She has a female friend for you. Please call back as soon as possible."
Is there a date on this message?
No.
So earlier you were describing that in interviews with Redacted, she explained that she was living with a friend named Redacted at the time she first encountered Epstein. Is that right? Yes. And did she explain whether she ever went to Epstein's house with redacted?
She did.
And did you find in your review of the phone messages in Epstein's house any messages left by a person named redacted?
Yes.
Let's talk about a few of those messages. If you could turn to slide 14, please. What do we see here? This is a message in March of 2005. It lists redacted on it. And in the message, she will be here at 4 p.m, but she needs to talk to you before that. Please call her back. Turning to slide 15, what do we see here? This is a message dated September 8th of 2005. Redacted is listed on it, along with her new phone number, redacted. Now, do you know one way or the other whether this specific message was left by redacted?
No.
Are you familiar with redacted's date of birth?
Yes.
And if this message had been left by redacted, based on the date of the message and redacted's date of birth, would she have been about 17?
Yes.
Turning to slide 16, what do we see here?
This message is dated March 18th of 2005.
Redacted is listed on it, along with a phone number, and the message says, please call her. Again, same as before. Do you know one way or the other whether this specific message was left by redacted?
No.
But based on the date on this message and redacted's date of birth, if it had been left by redacted, would she have been about 16 on that date?
Yes.
Turning to slide 17, does this appear to be another message left by someone named redacted?
Yes.
What's the text of the message?
She can be tomorrow here from 2 p.m. to whenever.
What's the date on the message?
Oh, sorry. 3/18/05.
Same as before, do you know one way or the other whether this was left redacted?
No.
Based on her date of birth and the date of this message, if she had left this message, would she have been about 16?
Yes.
And finally, turning to slide 18. This is a bit faint, so if you could walk the grand jury through it.
So this message has redacted's name on it, along with the phone number, and in the message it says, has girl for tonight.
Is there a date on this message?
No.
In your review of these phone messages, did you find any other phone messages that appeared to fit this pattern of scheduling with girls?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about just a few of those. Let's turn to slide 19. What do we see here?
This message is September of 2005. It has a woman named Redacted on it. In the message it says, cancel Redacted, she would like to speak with you. I believe about college, along with a phone number. Should I schedule anything else?
And so the name Redacted. We'll talk about that a little bit in a few minutes, but just for present purposes, have you become aware during this investigation that during this time period, Jeffrey Epstein had an assistant named Redacted?
Yes.
Turning to slide 20, what does this message say?
This is a message that has redacted PH on it, and his phone maybe on it, and in the message it says, wants to work if you are in.
Turning to slide 21, what does this message say?
This message has redacted on it, and the message states, is it okay if redacted will come at 5?
And finally, turning to slide 22, what does this message say?
This message has redacted and redacted PH on it. In the message it states, they are available all weekend, and may be redacted too, and signed redacted PH.
Have you interviewed a person named Redacted during this investigation?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not that's the same Redacted listed on this message?
No.
In a minute, I want to ask you about your interviews of Redacted, but before I do that, I just want to ask you a few more questions about Redacted. Did there come a point in time, in approximately 2007, when Redacted learned that Epstein was being investigated by state authorities for his conduct with minors?
Yes.
How did she learn that?
She had seen it. She has seen it, that there was an investigation into him, and then she had reached out to Redacted, and Redacted told her that if she didn't talk, she'd be taken care of.
And were those the exact words used, or just the sum and substance of that conversation?
Sum and substance.
And do you remember, as we sit here today, whether she said that she called Redacted, or whether Redacted called her?
I don't recall the specifics, but there was a telephone communication.
And finally, when you met with Redacted, what was her demeanour like when she discussed her role in recruiting minors for Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
When you would talk with Redacted about her role in recruiting minors for Jeffrey Epstein, what was her demeanour like?
She became very emotional when she talked about that, very upset about her role in bringing other girls to him.
Finally, I want to talk to you about one last witness that you've interviewed. During the course of this investigation, have you participated in interviews with an individual named Redacted?
Yes.
For today's purposes, I'm just going to refer to her as Redacted. Can you tell us, how many times have you interviewed Redacted?
Twice.
Have you also reviewed reports from previous law enforcement interviews with Redacted?
Yes.
Is your testimony today based on both your review of those reports and also your own interviews with Redacted?
Yes.
Let's turn to slide 23. Are these photographs of Redacted?
Yes.
Did she tell you about how old she was when these photographs were taken?
She said that she was approximately 16 or 17 years old when these photos were taken.
What is her date of birth?
Redacted.
And have you learned where she was living when she was about 17 years old?
Yes.
Where was she living?
In West Palm Beach area.
Was she in school at the time?
Yes.
Did there come a point in time when Redacted learned about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
How did that happen?
One of her friends told her about a girl. Someone told her about being able to make money to massage a rich guy in West Palm Beach, and she agreed to do that.
Did she ultimately end up going to Epstein's residence in Palm Beach, Florida?
Yes.
Approximately how many times?
Multiple times.
Approximately how old was she when she first went to Epstein's house?
Approximately 16 or 17 years old.
During the times that she went there, did she explain to you what would typically happen when she went to Epstein's house?
Yes.
What are some of the things that she has described to you that occurred while she was at the residence?
She talked about having to massage him without her clothes on, in just her panties or nude. She talked about having to play with his nipples while he masturbated, and then he touched her breasts, her genital area, and used a vibrator on her genital area.
Generally speaking, when would this occur?
In the massage room at the West Palm Beach residence.
During these massages, did Epstein ever instruct her to use lotions?
Yes.
What kind of lotions?
Bath and Body Works.
What has she told you about any payment she received for these sessions?
She said she received $200.
How was she paid?
$100 bills.
Who would pay her?
Epstein or Redacted.
Okay, oh fuck. Wrong one. We'll talk a little bit more about Redacted in a moment, but let me ask for now, what, if anything, did she say to you about having a conversation she had with Epstein about her age?
She said that she told him she was under 18, and he made comments to her that if she was 18, he had helped her with a modeling career, or when she became 18, he could help her. He told her that if she was 18, he would have taken her to a party.
Hang on, let me double check the chat. Sanity Flyer 5294. This is the files, right? Yep, absolutely. This is the latest file drop of the Epstein Files as part of the Epstein Files Transparency Act 2025. I have previously narrated the Epstein Files, the court documents for the Epstein Files released in 2024. So at the moment, I'm doing my best to catch up and narrate the entire thing. Is the investigator that was threatened? No. This was recorded in 2019. This investigator was he was covering the New York stuff, but he was aware of the previous investigation and indeed conviction in West Palm Beach, Florida. But this one happens, well, almost 14, 15 years later. So yeah, it feels a little bit bad that he's able to do it again after he's already been convicted, but yeah. This is basically the New York proceeding, which happened a little bit later. And this was the one that resulted in Epstein being fully convicted, and, there was no way he was going out, and that's when he allegedly killed himself. Anyway, I'll carry on. Carrying on from line 10. When you met with Redacted, what was her demeanour like when she discussed what happened with Epstein during these sessions?
She became upset when she went into further detail about what occurred.
When you say she was upset, can you just explain for us a little bit what it was like talking to her about those experiences?
It was emotional. There were tears. There were some tears.
Were there some details she wasn't as comfortable talking about?
Yes.
Has Redacted told you that she's gone through psychological treatment, in part to cope with her experiences with Epstein?
Yes.
Has she ever been hospitalized relating to those issues?
Yes.
What was she hospitalized for?
Self-harm. Cutting herself.
I want to switch gears and talk about a few records relating to Redacted. If we could turn to slide 24. What's depicted on this slide?
So this is a calendar page. This was taken from her senior year school planner. And on this page, you can see she wrote in Jeffrey up here on the 9th, and then Jeffrey is listed on the 29th.
Just to give some context, are these the pages from October 2004 from her senior year school planner?
Yes.
And are there listed some of her activities and events throughout that month?
Yes.
In October 2004, would Redacted have been 17?
Yes.
Let's talk just a little bit about the two areas that you flagged in the circles. So looking at the top right red circle that's underneath and to the right of the entry that says New School, is Jeffrey Epstein written on that Saturday, the 9th?
Yes.
And at the bottom, the circle there that's just under the entry for homecoming game. Is there an entry for Jeffrey comes back? Yes. Have you talked with Redacted about what she would typically do with the money that she was paid? Yes. When she would go to Epstein's house? Yes. Just as a reminder, can you explain for us what she's told you about how she was paid? She said she was paid in $100 bills. And who would pay her? Epstein or Redacted? What would she do with that money? She deposited it in her bank account. Was her memory that she generally did that, or that she did that absolutely every time that she went there? That she generally did it. And has she provided you with copies of records from her bank account during that time period? Yes. Alright. Turning to the next slide. Sorry. Before we move on to slide 25, here on slide 24, the red circles that are here, are those that you've added to aid the grand jury in spotting those two locations, or did Redacted circle those in her planner? No, those were added. So turning to slide 25. You've testified that Redacted provided you with some of her bank records. What are we looking at on this slide? So this is an October 2004 deposit, and in it she deposited $200 bills and a 20. If this deposit happened on October 12, 2004, would Redacted have been 17? Yes. Turning to slide 26. Is this another deposit slip, and this one on November 9th, 2004? Yes. Is this another deposit slip that Redacted provided you? Yes. What, if anything, did you notice about this deposit slip? It's two. She deposited $200. Does the deposit slip note what kind of bills she deposited? Hundreds. Based on the date of this deposit, would Redacted have been 17 when this happened? Yes. Did Redacted explain to you in general how these sessions with Epstein were scheduled? Yes. What did she explain to you about how that worked? That she spoke on the phone with Redacted, who would schedule her to work. What was her understanding of who Redacted was? His assistant. In general, what kinds of things would they discuss on the phone call? They talk about when she was available, or Redacted would tell her, that they were coming down to West Palm Beach. And did Redacted ever tell her where she was calling from? Yes. What did Redacted remember about that? She recalled Redacted saying she was calling from New York. And when she remembered Redacted saying she was calling from New York, what was the context in which Redacted would explain, in general, in sum and substance, why she was calling from New York? She was telling Redacted that they would be arriving in West Palm Beach on a certain date, and to ask her when she's available. In these phone conversations with Redacted, what kind of terminology did Redacted typically use to refer to these sessions? She referred to it as work. Did Redacted remember having scheduling calls with anyone except for Redacted? Yes. Did she remember getting calls from anyone else? Yes. What did she remember? She remembered getting calls from Redacted. What was her understanding of who Redacted was? That she was another assistant of his. And in sum and substance, what would she talk about on the phone with Redacted? Same things that she talked with Redacted about. Scheduling. Does Redacted still have the cell phone she had as a teenager during this time period? Yes. Oh, I just spotted something in the chat. Lupus1711. Is this from a hearing, or what is the context of this? Sorry, I dropped a name. That's okay. This is from the New York trial. So this is like a court document, and this is from the Epstein trial in New York in 2019. And this is, from what I can understand, is the prosecution calling up the detective, the detective of the latter investigation in 2019, and is referring to a previous investigation in 2005 to 2006. I need a better heads up. Well, there's 18 other streams you can have a look at, although you can probably ignore Ted Sheds, which is what we had a little bit ago. Oh yes, Demon Deity. I think I forgot to mention Demon Deity. Didn't mean it was a bad thing. It's good to cover things like this. It makes the information more accessible. Absolutely, and absolutely shout out to the rest of my fellow creators for covering this in their own way, because many other institutions are failing us. They're not prosecuting the people they should. They're very much sitting on their hands. But those of us sort of more in the public domain, private citizens like myself, Coffee Seller, Asmongold, all of those people, left or right, doesn't necessarily matter. Anybody mentioning this, any creators mentioning this and bringing attention to this is doing a good thing in my book. And I would hope they say the same thing about me. You know what I mean? I didn't know you were streaming. Yeah, I should really get like an actual schedule up, except
I tend to do it more spur of the moment. Like when I'm streaming properly, I will have a proper schedule, and when I get like a proper overlay and like a chat menu on the side and everything like that, sure. But I know these Epstein streams are massive draws anyway, so I'm less bothered about it. But yeah, I probably should announce it, but yeah, I do tend to annoy people with the announcements though, so I don't want to do it too much. Anyway, we've done this page. We're going to go on to the next one. Oh, hello, Dexter. He's your good boy. Dexter's sitting here. He's being very, very nice and patient. Clara is now... I'm going to take a picture of that, actually. She looks absolutely adorable. Hello. Yeah. So, the cat short, I should say, that I recently put out, that was them, like... that was them like 4 days after I got them in the first place, and that was in last November. But now they've matured. They've got full access to the house. They're even jumping up on my shelves, and you can see them back, and they're very, very cuddly and affectionate. So they're great. They weren't at the time though. They weren't back then. They were still quite scared and getting used to everything, but you know, good content. Anyway, and what kind of phone is it? It's a flip phone. Has she shown that phone to you when you've met with her? Yes. Is there a contact stored in that phone for a redacted? Yes. And a phone number stored for that contact? Yes. Alright. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that specific phone number. Turning to the next slide, to slide 27, what's on this slide? So this shows who is financially responsible for this phone number, which is Jeffrey Epstein, and it shows the user as redacted associated with this phone number. We've seen these phone records before, during the narration. Are these subscriber records for the phone number redacted? Yes. Is that the phone number that's stored in the flip phone that you just described that Dania has? Yes. Again, they're not redacting these possible victim names. That's ridiculous. Yes. So in these subscriber records, are these records maintained by the phone company for that phone number? Yes. In the top two sections, do these sections explain who's responsible for the account in terms of billing and paying for the account? Yes. And is Jeffrey Epstein and a Manhattan address listed in both places? Yes. At the bottom section, under user information, is there information about the particular phone number and the user of that phone number? Yes. So is the user listed for the redacted phone number listed as redacted? Yes. And it is listed as the Manhattan address? Yes. Have you reviewed phone records for redacted's phone number during the time period we've been talking about? Yes. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of those records. If you could turn to slide 28. Is this an excerpt from the phone records for redacted's cell phone? Yes. On this slide, there's an arrow next to the excerpt and a highlighted portion. Could you just walk the grand jury through that particular line on the record? That was a call that was made on January 3rd at 1:06 p.m. Is redacted's number. So that's a record of those two phones talking to each other on that date and time? Yes. So if this call was between those two phones on January 3rd, 2004, sick, I want to talk about the very next day, January 4th, 2005. If you could turn to very next day, January 4th, 2005, that's another year. I mean, sick, is, you know, misrepresentation or misquote there. If you can turn to slide 29. So the day after that phone call we've just discussed, has redacted provided you with a deposit slip for January 4th, 2005? Yes. And did she deposit cash that day? Yes. About how much? She deposited about $150, one $100 bill, two 20s, and a 10. So just so we're clear on the timeline. On January 3rd, 2005, redacted and redacted's phone numbers were talking to each other, and the very next day redacted deposited cash? Yes. Alright, turning to slide 30. Is this an excerpt from the phone records from redacted's cell phone? Yes. Focusing on about halfway down, the highlighted line, are those records of calls on December 16, 2004? Yes. And what does this record reflect? That a call was made at around 2:08 p.m. on September 16th between redacted and redacted. So sticking with this same day, September 16th, 2004, let me ask, have you reviewed flight records from Jeffrey Epstein's private jet? Yes. And do those records log flights that he took on his private jet? Yes. And do those records also include flight manifests that show what individuals were on that flight? Yes. So turning to slide 31, what is the record excerpted here? So this shows that there was a departure on September 16 from JFK to West Palm Beach, and it lists all the individuals that were on that flight. And just to take a step back for context, can you just explain for the grand jury
what the different fields are in this record, what kind of log this is. So this is a flight log. It shows the days that he's flown out, his aircraft has flown out, and shows from location and to the arrival destination. Turning to the field on the far left and going down to the part where we've put an arrow, does that reflect a flight on September 16th, 2004? Yes. Do you recognize the airport codes to the right of that reflect the point of departure and arrival? Yes. So what is this particular flight? So this is JFK in New York. PBI is West Palm Beach. In addition to this log of different flights, have you also looked at the particular flight manifest for the September 16th, 2004 flight we've been talking about? Yes. Turning to page 32. Is this the passenger manifest we've been talking about? Yes. Is this the passenger manifest for the September 16th, 2004 flight we've just talked about? About halfway down to the area where there's a circle. Is that a circle that we've added for this presentation? Yes. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's A and A there, so it's not quite. So I'm going to carry on for this, yes. Q. Is redacted listed as a passenger on a flight on September 16, 2004? Yes. What are the listed times and departure and arrival locations for this flight? So they departed at 8:05 p.m. and arrived in West Palm at 10:16 p.m. Just so we have the timeline straight, if we could back to slide 30... I believe you testified earlier that the phone call highlighted here is on September 16th, 2004 at 2 o'clock. Is that correct? Yes. So if this call occurred at 2 o'clock on that day, would that have been about 6 hours before that flight took off from JFK? Yes. And in your conversations with Redacted, did she ever tell you that Epstein asked her to bring girls for him? Yes. What did she tell you about that? She said that he asked her if she had friends to bring. And how did she respond? She took 2 girls. When you say she took 2 girls, did she bring girls to Epstein's house? Yes. Were those girls minors? Yes. If you could give me just one moment. Special Agent Redacted, have you told the grand jury everything that you know about this case, or have you just answered the questions that I've asked? I've answered the questions you've asked. When you testified about the documents that you reviewed, or the conversations that you had with others, were you testifying to the exact words used, or just the substance of the documents, or those conversations? Just of the substance. And are you willing to return to the grand jury if the grand jury has any further questions for you? Yes. Ms. Redacted. Okay. With the foreperson's permission, I'd ask that the witness be excused. You're excused. Witness excused. Time noted, 2:11 p.m. Colloquy follows. I hereby certify that the foregoing is a true and accurate transcription, to the best of my skill and ability, from my electronic notes of this proceeding. June 19, 2019. Redacted. Acting Grand Jury Reporter, Free State Reporting, Inc. Well, that's the end of that file. We got a few more. I suspect it's going to be a few more witnesses brought up. Let me go. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I didn't know you were streaming. Yeah, sorry about that. I should have given some warning. But yeah, I don't like to piss everybody off on the Discord, and I know it's not a big draw on the YouTube channel, so I don't post about that often. I just schedule the stream when people come. It's good you keep talking about this. We have to keep it in the public eye and keep it calm. Absolutely, I agree. And as I say, my fellow creators are absolutely helping with that, and I very much appreciate it. We can't just let this get away. Correct. Can't let them get away at all. The way I see it, I don't care who's responsible. Whatever side of politics you are, I just care that the bad apples are all dragged out into the light and they suffer the full force of the law. And that the victims get some justice because they've gone through enough. And certainly I'm very suspicious about anybody that is stalling, dithering and delaying. And fair play to some figures in the Senate and Congress. Some people are going up there and they are naming names. And, they're defying the Department of Justice and actually naming some of the redacted names. And indeed, I think we got Brandon Herrera now in Congress, so it'll be very interesting to see if he does that. And, I was very tempted to outright give him my endorsement, because the guy who was facing, running for the congressional seat, was a mini Epstein in a way, but he didn't need it, so that's absolutely fine. Turns out the guy actually just resigned because he knew it was cooked. So I hope that guy also faces the full force of the law, because, we've got mini Epsteins everywhere.
I mean, we just got this guy, we got all the crimes that he did, but I mean, how many people are in positions of power able to get away with this stuff? It's sickening. And indeed, I think there's definitely a bunch in the creator space as well. I'm not one of them. I will never be one of them, but there are plenty are, and they get caught and they have these downfalls. But yeah, sadly, it keeps happening and people don't learn from it. It's still going to be a while before Heroic actually gets into Congress. I met him in Orlando. Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, but he's got the seat though. I think it went to like a runoff or something like that, where he was facing Tony Gonzalez, who was the incumbent, but he also got second place. And then Tony Gonzalez basically surrendered. So, I mean, he should have the seat. Or is there like a process that needs to be done? Sorry, my earphone's really weird. I definitely should be doing this on stream. I should really have a pause screen for doing this, but... Sorry, I have to wear earplugs during the night because of these two ragamuffins. Yes, that includes you. So yeah, sometimes my ears get a little bit itchy. Anyway, enough of that. Let's carry on. United States Grand Jury, Southern District of New York. United States of America versus Jeffrey Epstein, defendant. August 2018, additional. United States Courthouse, 40 Foley Square, New York, New York, 10007. July 2, 2019, 12:43 p.m. Appearances. Okay, we got Assistant United States Attorney times... Oh, redacted, sorry. Assistant United States Attorney times 3, and then redacted Acting Grand Jury Reporter. Redacted 7/2/19. Colloquy proceeds. Witness enters room. Time noted, 12:47 p.m. Redacted, called as a witness, having been first duly sworn by the foreperson of the grand jury, was examined and testified as follows. Examination by Ms. Redacted. Could you please state and spell your name for the record? A. Redacted. Good afternoon, Special Agent Redacted. Good afternoon. Where do you work? The FBI. What's your title at the FBI? Special Agent. How long have you worked as a Special Agent for the FBI? For over 2 years now. Did you testify before this grand jury on June 18, 2019? I did. Can you just remind the grand jury about your background? What types of work do you do at the FBI? I work on the Violent Crimes Against Children Squad, so we work child exploitation, human trafficking, and international parental kidnapping matters. Have you participated in an investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and his associates? Yes. Have you spoken to other people, including other law enforcement officers, about this investigation? Yes. Have you reviewed reports and documents prepared by others regarding this case? Yes. And is your testimony today based in part of those conversations with other law enforcement officers and documents that you have reviewed? Yes. Ms. Redacted. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the testimony that you're going to hear today will include hearsay. As you know, that means that the witness will not be testifying solely from her observations, but that she'll also be reporting what others have told her and what she's read in reports and documents prepared by others. As you know, hearsay advice is admissible in these grand jury proceedings, and you're free to rely on it in determining whether there is probable cause to indict the proposed defendant. If, however, you would like to hear the testimony of any other witnesses, you have the right to request it, and we will make reasonable efforts to bring that witness before you. Okay, so this is a female. By Ms. Redacted. So, Special Agent Redacted, I placed in front of you a stack of exhibits. I want to talk through them now, one by one. We were discussing earlier that you recall testifying before this grand jury on June 18th, 2019. Is that correct? Yes. So, I placed in front of you what's marked as Grand Jury Exhibit 3. Is that a fair and accurate transcript of your testimony on that date? Yes. I have also placed in front of you Grand Jury Exhibit 1. Is that a PowerPoint presentation that you reviewed with this grand jury on June 18th, 2019? Yes. So, picking up where we left off last time, I want to follow up regarding the presentation. If you could turn to page 28 of that presentation. Now, Special Agent Redacted, do you recall testifying about your interviews with a young woman named Redacted? Yes. And do you recall that there was a question from the grand jury about the date on one of the slides in this presentation? Yes. Just want to follow up on that. So on this page, just to orient ourselves, do you recall testifying about phone records of a call between a phone number I subscribed to Redacted and Redacted's cell phone on January 3rd? Yes. Have you reviewed the underlying phone records that are excerpted in this slide? Yes. Is the call highlighted on this slide from January 3rd, 2005? Yes.
Directing your attention to the top of the slide where it says 2004, is that a typo? Yes. I was going to mention that. Have you confirmed that the underlying records are in fact from January 3rd, 2005? Yes. Turning to the next slide on page 29. So the header on this slide is January 4th, 2005. Is that the same date that's on the deposit slip exhibited in that slide? Oh, Jesus. Yes. So, does the date on this slide accurately reflect the date on the deposit slip? Yes. So when you testify that based on the phone records we just discussed and this deposit slip, that it appears that they were back-to-back days, was that in fact accurate? Yes. Alright. So I want to switch gears now and ask you, do you recall testifying before this grand jury regarding a woman named Redacted? I'm not sure what that noise was downstairs. But it wasn't the cats, because they're here. Yes. If you could turn now to what's before you and mark Grand Jury Exhibit 4, do you recognise this? Yes. What is this document? So this is a list of messages that appear to be left for Jeffrey Epstein. Taking a step back for a moment, how did the FBI obtain this document? We received this from the Palm Beach Police Department. What is your understanding, based on your review of law enforcement reports and your review of the case file, of how the Palm Beach Police Department obtained this document? They would have received it from a trash pull. So a trash pull is, one of the detectives had gone to the residence and went through the trash that was left on the curb. Is this document from one of those trash pulls? Yes. Approximately when was this pulled from the trash, based on your review of law enforcement reports? April 13, 2005. In a previous presentation, you discussed a number of residences. Do you know specifically where this was pulled from the trash? The Palm Beach residence. Did you personally participate in gathering this evidence? I was not a part of the trash pull, but I have received the evidence since. So let's talk through this document. Looking first at the first page at the top, what does this document appear to be? Is records listed for Jeffrey Epstein, 4/11/2005 to 4/11/2005. What are the fields at the top? So the left side has who it's from, the middle has the message, and then on the right it has, some of them have phone numbers listed. Does the name Redacted appear in this document? Yes. Let's turn to the fourth page of this document. Focusing on the last line, do you see where it says callers? Yes. What is listed in the field to the right? It lists Redacted. Turning to page 2 of this document, focusing on the bottom 3 lines, can you point out to the grand jury where you see the name Redacted at the bottom of this document? So Redacted is listed twice. Redacted indicating. What are the messages to the right of the name Redacted? The first message lists, I'm back in New York. What's the second one? Redacted is back. Is there a phone number listed next to the message? Yes. And what is the area code for that phone number? Redacted. Does that appear to be a New York City area code? Yes. In your interviews with Redacted, have you asked her whether or not she recognizes this phone number? Yes. What did she tell you? She did not recognize it. What, if anything, did she tell you about the phones that she was using during this time period? She said that she was using a lot of different phones, that she'd gone a lot of different places, so she didn't recall all the numbers that she had used in the past. Have you obtained phone records of this phone number? Yes. Who was listed for the subscriber in 2005? It came back to an individual in Maspeth. Based on your participation in this investigation, does that particular individual have any significance to this investigation, as far as you can tell? No. If these messages have been left by Redacted in New York, would some type of communication have had to occur across state lines in order for these messages to have been found in Florida? Yes. Do you recall testifying about Redacted and Redacted, having remembered receiving phone calls from Epstein's assistant, Redacted? Yes. Do they recall that occasionally when they would get phone calls from Redacted, that she would say that she was calling from New York? Yes. If Redacted and Redacted were in Florida when they got those calls, and those calls had in fact been placed from New York, would those calls have travelled across state lines? Yes. A few final questions about Redacted. In your conversations with her, did she ever describe to you receiving phone calls regarding the massages that she was scheduling? Yes. Who would call her? Redacted. Did she recall speaking to anyone else on the phone? Epstein. And did she explain the context in which she would receive calls and speak to Epstein? Yes, she said that when she spoke with Epstein on the phone, it would always be through Redacted. So Redacted would contact her and then put him on the phone to speak with her. What was her understanding of who Redacted was? His assistant. In these conversations with Redacted and Epstein, did Redacted recall whether or not either of them had ever asked her to bring a particular girl to the house? Yes. Did she recall whether Redacted ever asked her to bring a particular girl? Yes. What does she remember about that? That Redacted would ask her, do you have this particular girl, or can this girl come tonight, or on whatever day that they had chosen? When she would speak with Epstein on the phone, did she recall whether or not Epstein would ever ask her to bring a particular girl? Yes. What did she remember about that? Along the same lines, can you bring this girl? Just one moment. Special Agent Redacted, have you told the grand jury everything that you know about this case, or have you just answered the questions that I've asked? I've just answered the questions you've asked. When you testified about the documents you reviewed, or the conversations that you had with others, were you testifying to the exact words that were used, or just the substance of the documents, or conversations? Substance. Are you willing to return to the grand jury if the grand jury has any further questions for you? Yes. Ms. Redacted. With the foreperson's permission, I would ask that Special Agent Redacted be excused. You're excused. Witness excused. Time noted, 1 p.m. Colloquy follows. Certificate. State of New York, County of Kings. I, Redacted, hereby certify that the foregoing is a true and accurate transcript to the best of my ability, skill and ability from my stenographic notes of this proceeding. Redacted. Active Grand Jury Reporter. Right, that's that file done. Okay, I think we got some photos now. Still going to be a while before Herrera actually gets into Congress and met him in Orlando. That's cool. Yeah, I hope he's still able to sort of still do his videos as well, but it might be a reach. Lupus once again says, it's so frustrating to learn how far-reaching this all went and how many were complicit in this. Like, even here in Germany, we have mentions and stuff, and nobody wants to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Say what you want about my government, and believe me, I can see a lot. Prince Andrew, or the former Prince Andrew, Peter Mandelson, both of them have been taken in by the cops and questioned. So it's good to see at least that we're sort of cooperative with this, but yeah, it's not great. But it's hard to think that it's just after all this time, the police first sort of learned about this in, I would want to say 2004, 2005. That's when the investigation started. And then when he was convicted the first time, he only ended up serving a year and a half, and then he made a deal. He named names. And then, as you can see with this later court conviction, he just went straight back to doing what he did before. Absolutely ridiculous. But, even if he's not alive to face the music, he did get justice in the end. Someone offed him. I don't believe he's actually still alive. Like, I would have said, just dig up the body, make sure people know. Anyway, let's carry on. United States versus Jeffrey Epstein. June 18, 2019 presentation. I think we got about 400 files left. Yeah. 9V 71st Street, New York, New York. That's his house. That's his residence. If you go back all the way to dataset 1, where we first started this madness, this was the address we saw the photos taken of. So this is 358 El Brillo Way, Palm Beach, Florida. That's another big property. This is redacted. Redacted. Oh boy. Okay. So key evidence. This is one of his offices. I want to say this is probably Palm Beach, Florida. Unless it's Little St. James Island, which is Epstein Island. Okay, redacted on the left. Important message from Mr. J.E. Date 9:30:04. Time 6:27 p.m. Redacted. She has females for Mr. J.E. Signed there. So this is key evidence, I want to say. Redacted on the left, Mr. J.E. Date 11:08:04. Time 1:15 p.m. Redacted. Phone redacted. I have a female for him. Signed there. I mean, it says AZ. Or AZ. Yeah, I want to say this says AZ. There's a weird signature. And here's more. We've got some redactions for Mr. J.E. Date 11:11. 00 maybe? Time 11:03 a.m. Darren? Message, he has the info, please call him. For JE times 7, redacted phone number again. Wondering if you want her to work tomorrow and what time. Hello! 4JE time 5:15 something. M. Donald Trump. Phone number redacted. Nothing there. Oh boy. Well, obviously Clinton already showed up in a bunch of photos. Trump showed up on the mantelpiece, and he's shown up again, but this thing has no details in it. We don't know why he called. We do know that Trump has had contact with Epstein, though. 4JE, M redacted. Time 9:55, and there's nothing else there. So presumably that redacted name is very important. Possibly Bill Case or something, who knows. Left is redacted. 4JE, date 1:13:05, time 7:30 p.m. M redacted, phone mobile redacted. Message, please call her or HG, signed there. Redacted on left, 4JE, date 1:29:05, time 1:10 p.m. M redacted, phone mobile redacted. I have a female for him. For Jeffrey, time 3:40 p.m. Redacted staff, please call. Oh god. She has a female friend for you. Please call back as soon as possible. I can sort of read that. It's very faint writing. For Jeffrey, date 3:19:05, time 11:50 a.m. Please call. She will be here at 4 p.m, but she needs to talk to you before that. Please call her back. Redacted details. For JE, date 9:08:05, time 4:50 p.m. M redacted. Message, her new phone number redacted. Signed J. 4JE, 3:18:05, time 7:33 p.m. Redacted stuff. Please call her. Signed J. Report message for Jeffrey. 3:18:05, 06:15. M redacted. Message, she can be tomorrow here from 2 p.m. to whenever. Important message for Jeffrey. M redacted. Time 5:11 p.m. Phone mobile redacted. Telephoned. Message, has girl for tonight. 4JE, date 9:04:05, time 7:25 p.m. They've telephoned. Message cancelled, redacted. She would like to speak to you. I believe about college, redacted. Should I schedule anyone else? Signed J. For Mr. J. Epstein, date 5:06:05, maybe? Time 4:11 p.m. Telephoned, wants to work if you are in. Signed, redacted. For Jeffrey, date 31:08:05. 30 days of September? Maybe. Time 4:21 p.m. Message, is it okay if redacted will come at 5? For Jeffrey, August 2nd, 12:45 p.m. Telephoned, they are available all weekend and maybe redacted too. Signed by redacted. Here's another redaction and another redaction. October 12, 2004, deposit. Okay, what do we got here? Transaction 10:12:04, 13:28:15, start time 13:27:25. Redacted. Received $220 in cash. So this is talking about the bank statements from the witnesses. They say they took the money and they deposited it in the bank account. So the relevant information is that we got $200 in $100 bills. So that was the money that matches the denomination that Epstein gave her. So that's the bank statement. And this is November 9th, 2004 deposit. And again, this matches $200 submitted there in $100 bills. So 110904. This is basically, I don't need to narrate all of that because the relevant information is that this is $200 worth of $100 bills. So basically two $100 bills. That's what they deposited. But the rest of the stuff, this is a victim that's essentially deposited the money. Financially liable party. Name, Jeffrey E. Epstein. Credit address, 457 Madison Avenue, New York, New York. 100226843. Customer since 04/03/2004. Photo ID type, number, state, nothing there. DAB 05/05/1950. Contact name redacted. Contact home phone redacted. Contact work phone redacted. All this sum of information not filled in. Billing party, account number redacted. Name, Jeffrey E. Epstein. Billing address, 457 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10022 6843. Account status active, billing cycle 2. User information: MSI SDN, MSI SDN active, IMSI, IMSI ESN, or redacted. Name redacted. User address: 457 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10022 6843. January 3rd, 2004 calls. So we've had a lot of these before, and we did originally just breeze over it, and we're going to do the same again, because they're highlighting the relevant call as pertaining to the previous investigation as call number 963 that was made on 0103 at 0106 p.m. That was either from or to New York, New York. It was 1 minute long. It was unlimited mobile to mobile. January 4th, 2005 statement. Again, this refers to the one that only 100 of the only one $100 bill was added, but also 2 20s and 1 10. So we had that in the second lot of court documents. And September 16th, 2004 calls. So these are court documents that basically match the previous testimony. So the only one we want to do this, because most of this is just junk information. We want item 132 at date 0916 0208 p.m. calls to New York, New York, and this is a 1 minute call from unlimited mobile to mobile. So that's the relevant call highlighted earlier during the court proceedings. I'm getting a little cold. I'm going to put a cardigan on. Is it right, Dex? My cats have been absolute angels at the moment. They're getting better. It's just, I mean, both of them can be a little bit anyway, but Clara is very, very clingy and affectionate, and she will always want attention. Just she normally wants it when I'm recording, and that sometimes gets in the way. But apart from that, they've been absolutely great. I live my own apart from them, but I'm not too far away from my my family, but I have plenty of my independence. Yes, you're a good boy. Yes, you are. Such a good kitty. Anyway, let's carry on. We're here about Epstein. You don't want to see my cats. That's what the short is for. And yeah, I knew I need to put up more cat shorts purely because this sort of balances out all the Epstein stuff that I do. Although my face when they get more comments and views than my actual normal content. Yeah. I mean, hell, everyone loves cats on the internet. And, my two are no exception. September 16th, 2004 flight. Okay, so we're going to go for the relevant one. So this is date the 16th. It marks September 16th. So aircraft make and model. So it's noting the stuff above. So the aircraft on this one, which is highlighted with an arrow, is B727-31H as the aircraft make and model. Aircraft identification mark N9C8JE, and from points of departure and arrival is JFK to PBI. No mask flown filled in. Is flight number 291. Remarks, procedures, maneuvers, endorsements, and this has all the names. And I think I thought that said Donald there. Okay, so it has JENM. That's for N for November, M for Mike. Redacted. JK. David Mullen. And then LVLM at the end. Hello, Clara. So Clara's now up on my desk. No doubt she's going to walk across, but at the moment she's having the water I've left there for her. And September 16th, 2004 flight. Okay, we can go for there. GE Inc. Passenger Manifest. Registration number N908JE, type B72731. Pilots David Rogers, Larry Vysotsky. Flight engineer Larry Morrison. Date 9/16/2004 from JFK to PBI. Departure time 8:05 p.m. Arrival time 10:16 p.m. Trip number 291. Passengers Jeffrey Epstein and redacted. Surprise, surprise. From identifier defined, city New York, state or country New York, to identifier defined, city West Palm Beach, state or country Florida, nautical miles 893. And that's the end of that file there. Okay, we've got a big one coming up. Oh. Dare I show the webcam of the cats?
Yeah, I do. Guys, say hi. Hello. So yeah, they've just been resting on the towel. They've got my big water bottle there, my coffee, because they keep knocking over my coffee. And I do have what do you call it? One of those Amazon Alexa things. But yeah, they're doing good at the moment. So yeah, that's what I've got to deal with. I don't know what they did with his body, but I know that they cremated him. I would need to double check that actually. Surely he would get some kind of. I mean, he was rich enough to have a burial, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was an unmarked grave or something. Lupus 1788 Cats Been Cats. Yep. Tim Paul had the exact same problem with Chicken City. What? I'm gonna need some context for that. I can't even remember what. I don't know what that was in reference to. Anyway, I'm just gonna start reading this bit. How are we looking for time? Oh, 1:25. Okay, we've been going for a good hour and a half. Well, I'm still going all right. My throat hasn't died yet. If I get too tired, I'll stop. I'll go to bed, and then I'll probably come back here tomorrow because this is still a lot of words to read, even though there's not as many files. You could go, hello, Clara. You're going to walk across again. Well, it would be nice if you could rest in one spot and stay in that spot. No, okay. Clara is now right in front of my piece, right in front of my monitor. I can't read anything. Clara, you're going to have to move. Right. Stay there. Don't do anything. Just stay in one place. There we go. And now my other cat wants to come across. Guys, I don't want to have to kick you out of the room. You've been so good. Well, Dexter's going down. Maybe Clara will follow him. He tends to do that. You okay? All right. United States Grand Jury, Southern District of New York, United States of America versus Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, this bitch. 2018 RO1618, November 19, 2019 additional. United States Courthouse, 300 Corroborating Street, White Plains, New York, June 29, 2020, 10:04 a.m. I might have done this before in the 2024 Epstein court documents, but we'll do it again anyway. Appearances: 2 redacted Assistant United States Attorneys and redacted acting Grand Jury Reporter. Redacted heading. Colloquy proceeds. Witness enters room. Time noted 10:16 a.m. Redacted called as a witness, having been duly sworn by the foreperson of the grand jury, was examined and testified as follows. By Ms. Redacted. Good morning. Morning. Can you please state your full name for the record? Redacted, redacted. So I recognize that you are wearing a mask and behind plexiglass. There's a microphone in front of you. If you could just make an effort to speak into the mic and keep your voice up, that would be great. No, don't knock my monitor over, cat. So yeah, no problem. Where do you currently work? The Federal Bureau of Investigation. What is your title? Special Agent. How long have you worked as a special agent? About 3 years. 3 years now. Where are you currently assigned? I work on the Violent Crimes Against Children Squad. What are your duties and responsibilities as a special agent on that squad? We investigate crimes that have to do with child sexual abuse material, sextortion, exploitation, and enticement of minors, sex trafficking. Grand juror. Oh, she's having, Yeah, this is a grand juror speaking. Maybe if she could take the mask off. Is anybody having difficulty understanding her? Okay, so this is the female. Ms. Redacted. Thanks for letting me know. Would that be okay with you if the witness took her mask off? We're okay with the plexiglass, right? Okay, so this was probably during COVID then. Yeah. Ms. Redacted. Thanks very much. Thank you. By Ms. Redacted. Alright. So I'm just going to go back and ask a few of those questions again, just to make sure that everyone can hear. You testified earlier that you're a special agent with the FBI. Is that correct? New voice, because we know it's a woman. Yes. Where are you currently assigned? I work in the Violent Crimes Against Children Squad.
And what are your duties and responsibilities as a special agent on that squad? We investigate crimes that involve child sexual abuse material, sextortion, enticement, and exploitation of minors, sex trafficking, international parental kidnappings. Ms. Redacted. Let me just pause here. Can everyone hear the witness? Grand Juror. Yes. Ms. Redacted. Okay, thank you. And Special Agent Redacted, if you could just try to keep your voice up, I really appreciate it. It's a little difficult under the circumstances. By Ms. Redacted. Have you participated in an investigation of Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes, I have. Have you spoken to other people, including other law enforcement officers, about this investigation? Yes. Have you reviewed reports and documents prepared by others regarding this case? Yes. Is your testimony today based in part on those conversations with other law enforcement officers and documents that you have received? Yes.
Dexter, what are you doing?
Anyway, MS. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just give you a brief instruction. Some of the testimony that you'll hear today will include what's called hearsay. As you know, that means that the witness will not be testifying solely from her own observations, but that she'll also be reporting to you what others have told her and what she's read in reports and documents prepared by other people. Hearsay evidence is admissible in these grand jury proceedings, and you're free to rely on it in determining whether there's probable cause to indict the proposed defendant. If, however, you would like to hear the testimony of any other witnesses, you have the right to request it, and we will make reasonable efforts to bring that witness before you. By Ms. Redacted. Special Agent Redacted, we placed on the desk in front of you a PowerPoint that is Grand Jury Exhibit 2, which we're entering into the record. Do you recognize it? Yes. What is it? It's a PowerPoint presentation to assist in testifying today. Did you participate in preparing this exhibit in connection with your testimony today? Yes, I did. If you could please turn to the first slide. Who are the individuals depicted in these photographs? The picture on the left is Ghislaine Maxwell, and the picture on the right is Jeffrey Epstein with Ghislaine Maxwell. Based on your participation in this investigation, and your review of public source materials, have Maxwell and Epstein been photographed together many times over the years? Yes. Based on your participation in this investigation and your review of public materials, where is Maxwell from? Maxwell was born in France. She grew up in the United Kingdom, was educated in Oxford, and is from a wealthy family. Is she a citizen of France, the United Kingdom, and the United States? Yes. How old is she currently? 58. Has the FBI investigated Maxwell and Epstein's contact with minors during the 1990s? Yes. Generally speaking, what have you learned about the relationship between Maxwell and Epstein during the 1990s? Epstein and Maxwell have a romantic relationship, and she also worked for him, managing his homes, hiring and firing individuals. During that time period, was she one of his closest associates? Yes. During the course of this investigation, have you learned where Epstein maintained properties in the 1990s? Yes. Where did he maintain properties? New York, Palm Beach, and New Mexico. Turning to the next slide, did he mention an address in Manhattan located at 9 East 71st Street? Yes. Does this slide fairly and accurately depict the residence? Yes. Can you please describe that property for the grand jury? A. It's a 7-story home. It's located near Central Park. It's reportedly It's reportedly the largest residence in Manhattan. Based on your participation in this investigation, did that house include a room that was used as a massage room? Yes, it did. All right. We'll talk more about that later, but for now, moving on to the other properties, did he mention an address in Palm Beach, Florida, located at 358 Obrilla Way? Yes. Turning to the next slide. Does this slide fairly and accurately depict that residence? Yes, it does. Could you please describe that property for the grand jury? It's a waterfront estate. It has an in-ground pool and a detached dwelling or pool house on the property as well. And from your participation in this investigation, and your review of other materials, did that house include a room that was used as a massage room? Yes. Turning to the next property, did Epstein also own a ranch in New Mexico? Yes, he did. And turning to the next slide, was that property located at 490 Ranch Road in Stanley, New Mexico? Yes. Looking at the photograph on this slide, does this accurately depict that property? Yes, it does. And we've been talking about the properties that Epstein owned during this time period. Did he also own a private jet? Yes. Is it fair to say that he was a multimillionaire during this time period? Yes. During the 1990s, did Epstein have an employee, redacted, who ran his house in Palm Beach? Yes, he did. What was his job? His job was making sure that everything in the house ran smoothly. He described that Epstein liked to have his house run like a 5-star hotel, that everything had to be in its proper place, so he was responsible for managing that. Have you interviewed redacted? Yes. How many times? Twice. And is the interview you're about to provide based on your interviews with redacted? Yes. Did redacted begin working for Epstein in the early 1990s? Yes, he did. And at the time, redacted came to work for Epstein in Palm Beach. Was Epstein dating Ghislaine Maxwell at that point? Not at that time. Was it a few years before Epstein began dating Maxwell after redacted started working there? Yes. From what redacted told you, how did redacted work change once Maxwell arrived on the scene? Redacted described Epstein as being more pleasant to work with prior to Maxwell coming into the picture. Once she came into the picture, he said things became more secretive. He wasn't allowed to be in the room with guests, wasn't allowed to talk with them, associate with them. It became a different environment. You talked about some of the rules that were placed changing. Were there any rule changes about eye contact once Maxwell began staying in the Palm Beach house? Yes. Redacted wasn't allowed to make eye contact with Epstein and others. In general, how did he describe what it was like to work for Maxwell? He said she was very demanding. She was on top of him all the time. He described her as a bitch. Is that the word that he used? That is the word he used. Shifting gears. I want to talk to you about someone else that you've interviewed during this investigation. During the course of the investigation, have you participated in interviews with an individual named redacted? Yes. So for these purposes, I'm just going to refer to her as redacted. Is that okay? Yes. How many times have you interviewed redacted? Approximately 5 times. If you could please just page through the next 2 slides in front of you. Are these photographs of redacted? Yes. Is it your understanding that these photographs depict redacted from approximately age 13 to approximately 17? Yes, it does. Okay, let's take a look at some of those photographs. I'm going to publish the next slide. Is redacted's date of birth redacted? Yes. Let's have a look. Sorry, look in the chat. I also need Chicken City context. Flint says, hello, Brit boy. Hello, American boy as well. And indeed, all the other Americans probably watching, because it's a bit too late for people in Europe at the moment. And are these 2 photographs of redacted? Yes, they are. If you could turn to the second slide of photographs, are these also photographs of redacted? Yes. Based on your participation in this investigation and your interview with redacted, where was she living when she was approximately 14? She was living in Palm Beach, Florida. Who was she living with when she was 14? Her mother and her siblings. What was her whole life like at that time? At that time, her father had passed away the year prior, so the family was struggling financially and having some difficulties. What did Redacted's father do before he passed away? He was involved in Redacted. Was Redacted involved in Redacted? Yes, she was. Were her siblings? Yes. What kinds of Redacted were they involved in? Singing. She was a singer. Like what kind of singer? Opera. In the summer of 1994, how old was Redacted? She was 13 going on 14. You testified earlier that her birthday is in Redacted, so did she turn 14 in Redacted of 1994? Yes. What did she do that summer? She attended an arts camp at Interlochen Center for the Arts. And is Interlochen Summer Arts Program located in Michigan? Yes. Did Redacted meet Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell that summer? Yes, she did. Did she meet them at summer camp? Yes. What did she tell you about that? She said that she was sitting at a picnic table with friends when Epstein and Maxwell walked by. They stopped to talk to her, engaged in conversation, asked her if she liked her classes, her teachers. During that conversation, they found out that she was also from Palm Beach, and that he said that he gives scholarships to students. How did they leave the conversation? Was there any contact information exchanged? They asked for Redacted's phone number. As part of your investigation, have you attempted to gather records to corroborate that Redacted, Maxwell, and Epstein were all at that summer camp that summer? Yes. If you could turn to the next slide, please. Have you obtained records from Interlochen for the summer of 1994? Yes. And what are we looking at on this slide? This shows who. Some of the individuals that were there were present for that camp in 94. On here is redacted, 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 and redacted. And have you investigated whether Maxwell and Epstein were also at Interlochen that summer of 1994, as redacted described? Yes. Based on your review of records from Interlochen, what is your understanding of Epstein's relationship with Interlochen? My understanding was that he was a donor to the school. Did he make any substantial donations? He did. Did he donate a lodge to the camp in the summer of 1994? Yes, he did. Did he have a long-standing relationship as a donor to Interlochen? Yes. Turning to the next slide, is this an excerpt of a letter from Interlochen to Epstein? Yes, it is. And does this letter thank Epstein for donating a scholarship lodge? Yes. Does it invite Epstein to a visit in August of 1994? Yes. In 1994, did Epstein have a private jet? Yes, he did. Have you obtained the flight logs for that jet? Yes. Do those logs include passenger lists and the airport code for the airports that the plane flew into and out of? Yes. Turning to the next slide. Is this a page of the flight logs that you've reviewed? Yes. And on this excerpt of the flight logs, where the red arrow is that a log entry showing an August 18th, 1994 flight to an airport with the airport code TVC? Yes. Is TVC the airport code for Cherry Capital Airport in Traverse City, Michigan? Yes, it is. About how far is that airport from Interlochen by car? It's about 25 minutes, give or take. And who are the listed passengers on this flight? Jeffrey Epstein, redacted, PH, and redacted, PH. And turning to the next slide, is this the same excerpt, but just with a different arrow? Yes. Okay, so a few lines down, is there a flight out of Traverse City just 2 days later on August 20th, 1994? Yes. And do the passengers listed in the flight out of Traverse City include the initials GM? Yes, they do. Are those Ghislaine Maxwell's initials? Yes. Have you obtained any records from Interlochen to indicate that Maxwell was at Interlochen in 1994? Yes. If we could turn to the next slide. Can you please explain for the grand jury what we're looking at on this slide? This was a letter from Interlochen explaining, addressed to Maxwell, telling her that they had found an envelope in the lodge that they had been staying in. Alright, we were talking a few moments ago about how Redacted described meeting Maxwell and Epstein at summer camp, and you testified that she provided them with her phone number. Did Redacted explain to you whether or not she had any contact with Epstein or Maxwell after she returned home to Palm Beach? Yes. When was the next time that happened? Shortly thereafter. And how did that occur? She was invited to his house, so her and her mother went to Epstein's house to visit. What did Redacted tell you about that visit to Epstein's house with her mother? She said it was... Wait, can you rephrase that? Of course. Did Redacted go to the house by herself or with her mother? With her mother. Okay. And when they went to the house, what did they do there? They had tea. Who was there when they had tea at the house? Epstein and Maxwell. What did they discuss as they had tea? They just talked about her life and, what she wanted to do. Did Epstein make any offers? He said that he gives scholarships. He likes to mentor people. How did Redacted's mother react when Epstein said this? She was happy for her daughter and oftentimes referred to Epstein as Redacted's godfather. After that occasion, when they went over to the house, thereafter, did Redacted subsequently begin regularly spending time with Maxwell and Epstein at Epstein's house in Palm Beach? Yes. And did that start when she was approximately age 14? Yes. Did it continue until she was about age 17? Yes, it did. Hello, Clara. And during those years, did she regularly go over to Epstein's house in Palm Beach and spend time with Maxwell and Epstein? Yes. What happened in the summer of 1997 when Redacted was 17 and about to turn 18? She moved to New York City. Why did she move to New York City? She wanted to pursue a career in acting and modeling. We'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, I want to focus on the years you talked about in Palm Beach from ages 14 to 17, when Redacted would regularly go to Epstein's house. In the beginning, in the first few months when she went there, what kind of things did she do when she would visit the house when Maxwell and Epstein were there? They'd hang out by the pool. They would take her to the movies, take her shopping. She described the behavior as grooming. When you say grooming, did she explain what she meant by that?
Dexter, we're up here.
Sorry, he's meowing a little bit, and Clara's right here as well, so he's probably just looking for us. So, did she explain what she meant by that? Answer. She meant that they were building a relationship. Hello, Dexter. With her, giving her things, taking her places, and then usually when the grooming happens, an offender will, once they gain that trust, they will make the relationship turn sexual. Now, you testified just a moment ago that Redacted described to you that she felt at this time period that they were grooming her. Is that right? Yes. Is that something that she realized at the time when she was 14, or is that something that she's described to you now? Something she's described now. She didn't realize that at the time.
Hey, no scratching at the corner. God, have you ruined that?
You might have. I'll have to have a look at that later. Something she's described to you now. Something she's described now. She didn't realize that at the time. So we'll talk a little bit more about grooming in a moment, but just to give context, are you familiar with the term grooming, based on your experience investigating crimes involving sexual exploitation of minors? Yes. Generally speaking, you were touching on this a moment ago, but if you could just explain in full, what is grooming? Grooming is when someone builds a relationship with a child. They find a vulnerability or a need, and then they work on gaining a child's trust, and then oftentimes gaining a parent's trust. Once they have that trust, they show that in ways that they care about them by giving them gifts and promises. And then once that's established, they turn the relationship sexual, oftentimes making sexual comments and normalizing the behavior. Now, during these visits that you've been describing what Redacted told you about, did Redacted say whether Epstein ever gave her anything? Yes, she did. What did he give her? He gave her cash. Sometimes he'd tell her to give the cash to her mum because he knew that they needed it. He paid for her voice lessons as well. Now, you were describing how Redacted has characterized these visits now, but based on your conversations with her at the time, did she feel that these visits were strange at all? She thought they were strange, but Maxwell normalized it for her. She was like a cool older sister and made comments like this is what grown-ups do. You used the phrase cool older sister. Is that a phrase that Redacted used to describe how she felt about Maxwell at the time and what Maxwell was like? Yes, those are our words. Did there come a time, these visits when Redacted saw Maxwell topless by the pool? Yes. What did she tell you about that? She was a little taken aback, but Maxwell just acted normal. Did Redacted tell you about an incident several months into this arrangement when she was alone with Epstein in the poolhouse? Yes. And when they were alone together, did Epstein ask what she wanted to do with her life? He did. What did she say? She said she wanted to be an actress and a model. How did Epstein respond? He told her that he was best friends with the owner of Victoria's Secret, told her that she would have to have photographs taken, and that she got to be comfortable in her underwear and not to be a prude. When she asked what that meant, he pulled her to his lap and masturbated. Fucking Christ. What was her reaction? She felt paralyzed. She froze. After this incident, did Redacted encounters with Epstein begin to include sexual contact? Yes. Over time, did the sexual abuse escalate? It did. From what she has described to you, did the abuse include Epstein digitally penetrating Redacted? Yes. Did it include Epstein using a vibrator on her? Yes. Did she describe to you that there were times when Epstein would direct Redacted to massage him while he masturbated? Yes. Did Redacted explain to you what her memories are like of the abuse? Yes. What did she say about that? She said that it happened so often that it all runs together for her, that it's hard to separate out some of the different instances of abuse. You were describing how Redacted explained to you that the abuse began. Did that occur based on what Redacted told you within the first year that she met Epstein and Maxwell? Yes. Now, did Redacted also describe to you that once this abuse started, Epstein would also bring her into his massage room in the house? Yes. And there were times where he did this where there are other women present, including Maxwell? Yes. Was Redacted abused during those episodes? Yes, she was. During these group encounters, what were Redacted and the adult women wearing? They were usually just in their underwear. Once they were all in the massage room, how would these episodes generally start? They would generally start with one of the girls massaging Epstein. Redacted was usually massaging his feet. Maxwell was kind of teasing the girls. She'd grab the girls' breasts and she would direct the girls on what to do. When these episodes would start, in general, was Epstein generally lying face down on the massage table? Yes. What would happen as things progressed, generally speaking, from what she described to you? When Epstein would decide he was kind of done with the regular massage, he would turn over to his back and he'd grab whichever girl he wanted to either touch him or whatever girl he wanted to touch. Did these episodes include sex acts that over time in various instances include Epstein masturbating, Epstein receiving oral sex, and Epstein engaging in intercourse? Yes. You were describing for a moment what Redacted told you about Maxwell's role during these group encounters. Would Maxwell sometimes guide the women and give instructions about what to do? Yes, she would. What would Redacted typically do during these episodes? She would try not to look at Maxwell because she gave off that sister vibe, so it felt weird for her. She would try to be invisible in that room, so they would ignore her as much as possible. In the beginning, when Redacted... Calm down, you. In the beginning, when Redacted was approximately 14 or 15, would she generally begin by just massaging Epstein's feet? Yes. Is that something she was told to do? Yes. Did she... She mentioned that she tried to be invisible. I believe that was your testimony. Yes, don't leave my mic alone, Dex. And over time, has she described to you that over time she believes she became more involved in the sexual activity which varied in each encounter? Yes. Were there times... Let me rephrase that. How did... You touched on this for a moment, but just to be clear, how did Redacted describe Maxwell's attitude during this incident? Different voice. It was very casual. She acted like this was normal. She gave off that vibe to her and... yeah. Did that make her feel more comfortable with what was happening? It did. Was Redacted sometimes fully nude during these episodes? Yes. And during these episodes, did the abuse include Epstein touching Redacted's breast? Yes. Did it include directing Redacted to touch Epstein's genitals? Yes. Beginning when Redacted was approximately 14, does she begin to travel with Epstein and Maxwell to New York City on occasion? Yes, she did. Was that to the property you testified about earlier? The townhouse on the Upper East Side? Yes. When Redacted traveled to New York City, did she stay at Epstein's townhouse in New York City? Yes, she did. Did she reveal that Maxwell and Epstein took her shopping on one of her earlier trips to New York City? Yes. Did she remember them buying her anything? She recalled them buying her white cotton underwear. Fucking Christ. Her description was that they were like little girls in a way. Oh, fucking Christ. Ugh. From ages 14 to 70. Sorry. I will be as unprofessional as I like when I'm reading this, like for my own sanity, if for nothing else. Jesus. You know, not much phases me. Really, not much at all phases me. Like, I'm amorally neutral. But, I mean, stuff like this is just sickening, really. Like, it's sickening. It doesn't make me outright... it does make me outright disgusted, but normally I can keep a lid clamped on that. It's just my anger just rises to the top. I boil over when I see stuff like this. Oh, fucking Christ. Okay, let's carry on. Sorry, I like to vent my anger once in a while. From ages 14 to 17, did Epstein ask Redacted to periodically fly to New York for weekends at that townhouse in New York? I'm sorry, say it again? You testified that she began traveling to New York City at age 14. Did she then periodically travel to New York City in a similar manner from ages 14 to 17? Yes. Were there times when she traveled on those trips when she flew on Epstein's private jet? Yes. Did she also sometimes fly commercially? Yes, she did. Was Maxwell sometimes present on the trips to New York? Yes. You testified earlier that Redacted was sexually abused in Palm Beach. Did she describe to you that she was also sexually abused on these trips to New York? Yes, she did. Did Maxwell encourage Redacted to go on these trips? Yes. What did Redacted tell you about her memory of how these trips were arranged? She recalled that Maxwell was usually the one that would schedule her flights. If she was flying commercially, she would schedule the flights, sometimes calling her mother to schedule. Was that her general impression of how they were arranged? Yes. In addition to the trips to New York City that you just described, did Redacted also remember traveling at least once to Epstein's ranch in New Mexico? Yes, she did. Did she remember whether or not she was sexually abused in New Mexico? She couldn't recall. She couldn't remember. In general, how would Redacted get to the airport in Florida when she would fly an Epstein's jet? What did she describe to you? Usually a driver. One of Epstein's drivers would pick her up from her house and take her to the airport. Now, you testified earlier that you reviewed flight records for Epstein's private jet. Is that correct? Yes. And have you reviewed records from the 1990s to see if whether there's a person named Redacted listed on the records? Yes. Turning to the next slide. Is this an excerpt from those records? Yes, it is. And does the red arrow point to... Just one moment. Does the red arrow point to a November 11th, 1996 flight? Yes, it does. And does this flight log reflect that it was a flight from Palm Beach, Florida to Teterboro, New Jersey? A. Yes. I'll address the chat in a sec. Is there a private airfield in Teterboro, New Jersey? Yes, there is. What's it called? Teterboro Airport. Are the passengers listed on this entry JE? Yes. Do the entries also include redacted plus friend, redacted, PH, family, redacted, PH, child, redacted, PH, and redacted? Yes. Was redacted, based on your awareness of redacted date of birth and the date of this flight, was redacted 16 on the date of this flight? Yes, she was. Turning to the next slide. Oh, sorry, I'll do that off. So yeah, Jesus Christ. I'm assuming you're reacting to my pissed off outburst, which is absolutely fine. I mean, as I say, I tried to do it. I tried to detach myself a little bit, but yeah, I get fired up. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad people are in agreement, but yeah, it's disturbing stuff, and stuff like that really flares my anger up. Like, if they were apparently under investigation in the 1990s as well. 1990s! I'm a 90s kid. Why were they not cracked down on then? Why were they not cracked down permanently in 2005? Or 2007, I think he was sentenced. Why did it take up to 2019? Why was he out and about for so long? Same with Maxwell. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father was a crook as well. Robert Maxwell, I mean, when he died, I think he died in a boating thing. He died, and turns out he was committing, mass fraud, mass scams, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I guess the bad apples don't fall far from the tree. Anyway, you testified earlier about Teterboro Airport. What are we looking at on this slide? This is directions from Teterboro Airport to Epstein's residence here in Manhattan. So based on your review of this map, if someone were to fly into Teterboro Airport and travel to New York City, would the most natural route be to travel from Teterboro Airport and crossing into New York through Manhattan? Yes. Turning to the next slide. Is this also an excerpt from the flight records that you've reviewed? Yes, it is. And does this show a May 9th, 1997 flight from Teterboro, New Jersey to Santa Fe, New Mexico? Yes, it does. And are the passengers listed on this log JE, GM, redacted? Yes. Based on your knowledge of redacted birth date and the date of this flight, would redacted have been 16 on the date of this flight? Yes, she would have been. Turning to the next slide. Is this also an excerpt from the flight records? Yes. Okay, Clara has now found a pair of my socks. Jolly good. Yes, she would have been. Okay. Turning to the next slide. Is this also an excerpt from the flight records? Yes. And does the red arrow point to a flight entry on May 3rd, 1998? Yes, it does. Based on the airport codes, does this reflect that there was a flight on that date from Palm Beach, Florida to Teterboro, New Jersey? Yes. And are the passengers listed on this log JE, GM, ET, redacted, Glenn, PH, redacted, PH, redacted, PH, Manny, PH, redacted, PH? I need to work out what the PH stands for. Yes. Based on your knowledge of redacted birth date and the date of this flight, would redacted have been 17 on this date? Yes. Am I correct that you testified earlier that in addition to sometimes flying on Epstein's private jet, she also travelled on commercial airlines? Is that correct? Yes, it is. Based on your review of these flight logs, does every flight entry list the name of every single passenger, or are there times when a passenger is noted female? There's time when a passenger is just noted female. I'm going to talk to you about 2 examples of that. Turning ahead 2 slides. Looking at slide 18, does this reflect a January 3rd, 1995 flight where the flight log says JE 2 females? Yes, it does. And do the two entries below also just list female next to the issues JE? Yes, they do. Turning to the next slide, slide 19. Is this another example of an entry like that? Focusing on the entry of February 12, 1995. Yes. Does that entry also say female? Yes, it does. Now, you've testified that Redacted sometimes flew on commercial airlines, and that arrangements for her travel were made for her to fly commercially for these trips. Is that right? Yes. Have you been able to obtain commercial flight records? We tried. We were not able to obtain those records. Why is that? Airlines do not keep records past a certain year. Does Redacted recall group sexualized messages involving Epstein and Maxwell in both the New York and Florida residences during the time period we've been talking about? Yes.
This might be my last list of fasts tonight.
You testified earlier about the time that Epstein and Maxwell would spend together and the activities that they were involved in. During this time period, did Redacted have occasions to talk with Maxwell? I'm sorry, can you ask the question again? During the beginning when she was 14, when she began spending time with Epstein and Maxwell, and through the years, did Redacted often have conversations with Maxwell about her life? Yes. Did they talk about that often? They did. Did Maxwell ask Redacted about her family, her classes, and other aspects of her life? Yes, she did. You testified earlier that just before she turned 18, Redacted moved to New York City, is that right? Yes. Did she go to school there in New York City for her senior years? Yes, she did. What school did she go to? She went to Redacted. What is Redacted? They cater to individuals who want to pursue careers in the arts. Have you reviewed records from Redacted? Yes. If you could turn to slide 17, can you please explain for the grand jury what we're looking at here? This is an excerpt from Redacted, application to Redacted. On it is listed who is financially responsible for her, and that is Jeffrey Epstein. From what Redacted told you, did Maxwell encourage Redacted to accept Epstein's financial help? Yes. When Redacted moved to New York City, who was she living with? She lived with her mother and brother in Redacted. Did Epstein help pay for her rent? He did. During that year, her senior year of high school, when she was in New York City, did Redacted remain in contact with Epstein? Yes. What was the nature of their contact like during this time period? During this time, he was still sexually abusing her. And did that continue to occur in his townhouse in Manhattan that year? That year? Yes, it did. What happened at the end of her senior year of high school? She moved to Los Angeles to pursue a career in acting. Did she get a job as an actress when she was 18? She did. Has Redacted lived in Los Angeles and worked as an actress on television ever since then? Yes. After she moved to Los Angeles, did she continue being in touch with Epstein? For a short period of time. Did she ultimately break contact with him? Yes, she did. Is Redacted currently pursuing a civil lawsuit against Maxwell and Epstein's estate? Yes. Have you talked with Redacted about whether, when she was a teenage girl, when all of this was happening, whether she told anyone that she was being sexually abused? Yes, she said she didn't tell anyone. She felt like she couldn't. Nothing was talked about outside of that room. So it made it so that she couldn't talk about it. And then she also... Her mother is Middle Eastern, and her mother raised her that women are supposed to do what they're told, even if someone is beating you. Fucking hell, of course. And when she was 13 and her father passed, she went to a guidance counselor at school to talk about it, and her mother found out about it and smacked her. So she felt like she couldn't talk to anyone about it. Jesus. Did Redacted's mother encourage her to accept Epstein's financial assistance? Yes, she did. Have you become aware that in 2005, police officers from the Palm Beach Police Department executed a search warrant at Epstein's house at the El Way address in Palm Beach? Yes. Have you reviewed some of the materials seized during the search? Yes. Did they find massage tables and sex toys? Yes, they did. Did they find any photographs of Redacted? Yes. Was one of the photographs signed by Redacted? Yes, it was. Did it say Redacted? Yes. During your interviews with Redacted, did Redacted tell you how she felt about Epstein and Maxwell in the 90s, when she was a young girl? She did. She expressed that she felt like they loved her. She felt like they were her family. That they supported her, and that she felt she was made to feel like that she needed to be grateful to them. Okay. Did she tell you that she felt like they were trying to help her? Yes. Have you talked with Redacted about how she feels about this now? Yes. What was Redacted's demeanor like when she described to you what Epstein and Maxwell had done to her? She was upset. She recognized that now. It's affected her life to a great degree. She struggled in relationships with opening up to people and trusting people, both personal and professional relationships. Did she tell you that she struggled to tell anyone what had happened to her for most of her adulthood? Yes. When was the first time that you interviewed Redacted? Last fall. Was that the first time she'd ever reported this to law enforcement? Yes, it was. Now, you testified earlier about your interviews with Redacted, who worked at Epstein's Palm Beach house. Did you remember a girl named Redacted coming to the house during that time? Yes, he did. Did you recall Redacted, Maxwell, and Epstein being in the Palm Beach house together? Yes. What was his understanding of why Redacted was there? He thought that Epstein was helping her. That's what Epstein had told him, and Redacted had told him that Epstein was helping her. Yeah. Did he ever observe Epstein interacting with Redacted physically? Yes. What did he see? He saw Epstein kiss Redacted's cheek and pat her on the bottom. Did he have any knowledge about what was happening with Epstein or Maxwell when he wasn't present? He didn't. Did Redacted ever recall picking up Redacted from her house? Yes. Just cats playing with each other, sorry about that. And when he would pick her up from her house, would he then bring her back to the Palm Beach house? Yes. Did he remember who in general would tell him to pick up Redacted from her house? Maxwell would be the one to tell him to pick her up. Did he recall ever driving Redacted to the movies? Yes. What did he tell you about that? That it would usually be Epstein, Maxwell, and Redacted. They go to the movies, and it would usually be late at night. Did he tell you about what his memory was about how old Redacted was? He said she was young, and that he knew that because he had picked her up from school, and that he knew she was too young to drive. Switching gears, I want to talk to you about a different aspect of your interviews with Redacted. Based on what he told you about his job duties, was there ever times when he would have to clean Epstein's massage room? Yes. What did he tell you about that? He said that he found sex toys in the massage room, and he had to wash them afterwards. Aside from those experiences, was he aware of there being sex toys in the house? Yes. There was a basket of sex toys that were kept in Maxwell's closet. Did Redacted stop working for Epstein in approximately 2002? Yes. Was he told that he was being replaced? Yes. And was he generally aware that the person who replaced him was much younger? Yes. Did Redacted tell you that a few months after he left working for Epstein, he became suicidal because of issues in his marriage? Yes. Did he tell you that he went to Epstein's house and tried to take Epstein's gun? Yes, he did. Did he tell you he took several $1,000s? Yes. Did Epstein discover this and confront him about it? Yes, he did. Did Redacted admit to Epstein and the police what he'd done? Yes. Did Epstein also tell the police his gun was missing? Yes. Were there any charges filed? No. Was he ever arrested? I don't believe so. And did Epstein pursue any charges about this incident? No, he didn't pursue anything. Have you interviewed one of Epstein's former pilots? Yes. Is that pilot named Redacted? Yes. Was he one of the pilots for Epstein's private jet in the 1990s? Yes. Did you remember Redacted traveling on the jet in the 1990s? In the 90s, sorry. A. Oh, sorry. He remembered her traveling, but he didn't remember specifics. So just to be clear, is your testimony that he didn't remember the specific dates on the flights, but he remembered her traveling on the jet during the 1990s? Yes. And did you remember Redacted specifically as a person who travelled? Yes. Did you discuss with him the flight records that we talked about earlier that lists a person named Redacted as a passenger? Yes. Did he have a specific memory of those exact flights? No. But was he aware of any other Redacted flying on the jet beside Redacted in the 1990s? No. No other Redacted at that time. Earlier, when we were looking at interlock and attendance records for the summer of 1994, you noted that Redacted was one of the names on that record, is that right? Yes. Is that Redacted? Yes. Have you interviewed Redacted? Yes, I have. Did he tell you that he remembered Redacted talking that summer at camp about having met Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. Did he tell you that he remembered Redacted going over to Epstein's house in Palm Beach when they were in high school? Yes. Did he remember that Redacted would often talk about spending time with Maxwell and Epstein during this time? Yes. Did he remember Redacted telling him when they were in high school about at least one trip to New York City that she took with Epstein? Yes. Did he remember Redacted describing Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan? Yes. And does he remember Redacted talking often about Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes. Now, based on your interviews with Redacted, did he tell you whether he knew back then, when they were in high school, whether Redacted was being sexually abused by Epstein? He didn't know back then. Did Redacted ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes, he did. What did he remember about that? He remembered Epstein, Maxwell, and Redacted being near a movie theatre, and he was approximately 16 at the time, and Redacted would have been 15, and just a little bit of interaction they had. And then after that, Redacted had told him that Maxwell had said something to the effect of, I could teach Redacted a thing or two. Is that something that he remembers Redacted telling him back then that Maxwell had said? Yes. During the course of this investigation, have you participated with interviews with an individual named Redacted? Yes. So for today's purposes, I'm just going to refer to her as Redacted. How many times have you interviewed Redacted? Approximately twice. Now, does Redacted know Redacted? Have they ever met as far as you know? As far as I know, no. Turning to the next slide. Are these photographs of Redacted when she was in high school? Yes. And is her date of birth redacted? Yes. When Redacted was approximately 16 and a junior in high school, where was she living? She was living in Arizona with her mother. Does she have any siblings? An older sister. What does her older sister do? Her older sister worked for Epstein. Where did she work for Epstein? Here in New York. Did there come a time in approximately December 1995 when Redacted had a phone conversation with her sister about travelling to New York City? Yes. What did they discuss? They discussed her coming to New York and meeting Epstein. What did her sister tell Redacted about why she should meet Epstein? She said that he could help her with college. And did the sister say whether the sister wanted her to meet Epstein, or did she say whether Epstein wanted to meet Redacted? Epstein wanted to meet Redacted. Now let me just pause here. You testified that this happened in approximately December of 1995. Just for context, the years that we were talking about with Redacted, was that 1994 through 1997? Yes. So this is approximately the same time period, or what you described Redacted telling you happened? Yes. So in January of 1996, did Redacted fly on a commercial airline to New York City to spend a weekend with her sister and meet Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. Did she tell you that? Yes. Oh, God, sorry. Got to sit up properly. I can't look like a man out on stream. Okay. During the trip, did Redacted tell you that she met Epstein at his townhouse in New York City? Yes, she did. Did she tell you that Epstein discussed her plans for college applications and offered to help her? Yes. What was Redacted's first impression of Jeffrey Epstein? She was very impressed by him. What was her impression based on this conversation of what Epstein was going to do for her? That he was going to help her with her future plans for college. During that trip to New York City, did she stay at Epstein's townhouse or at her sister's apartment? Her sister's apartment. During that trip, what did she tell you that she saw Epstein a second time? During that trip, did she tell you that she saw Epstein a second time when he took Redacted and her sister to the movies? Yes. What did she tell you happened at the movies? She said that they were sitting in the theatre and Epstein was between Redacted and her sister. And Epstein put his hand on her leg. He rubbed her arm and held hands with her. Fucking Christ. From what she told you, what was her impression about whether her sister could see what was going on? She felt like her sister couldn't see. What was her reaction to this happening? She was uncomfortable. After the movie, did she tell her sister what had happened? No, she didn't. Did she say why not? She said that she knew Redacted. Her sister really liked Epstein and that Epstein could help them, so she didn't tell her. Did Epstein contact her afterwards? Yes. Clara, no scratching. Why are you scratching that part of the carpet? I really don't know. Did he discuss with her our ongoing college plans? Yes, he did. Did he invite her to a weekend at his ranch in New Mexico in the spring of 1996? Yes. Was she 16 at the time? Yes, she was. From what she told you, what was Redacted impression of who would be on this trip to New Mexico? She knew Maxwell would be there. Was she told anyone else was going to be present during this trip? She said that there would be, other students, kids her age. And what was her understanding of who these other kids were and why they'd be there? Sorry, let me rephrase. Rephrase the questions. You testified that she was told that on this trip that there would be other students. Was she under the impression that there would be other young students like her on the trip who were also being mentored by Epstein? Yes. Now, you testified just a moment ago, that she was also told that Maxwell would be there. Are you referring to Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes. At the point that she was told that Ghislaine Maxwell would be on this trip, had she ever met Ghislaine Maxwell? No, she hadn't. Has she heard her sister talk about Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes. From what she described to you, how did her expectation... Let me redo that. Sorry. I'll probably be ending soon. I'll do at least this file. I'll see the length of the new files coming up, but I will probably end it soon because I am stumbling over my words a lot. All right. What the hell was that? Okay. Yeah. So, at the point that she was told that Ghislaine Maxwell would be on this trip, had she ever met Ghislaine Maxwell? No, she hadn't. Has she heard her sister talk about Ghislaine Maxwell? Yes. From what she's described to you, how did her expectation that Maxwell would be on this trip make her feel about the trip? It made her comfortable. Her sister had talked highly of Maxwell. Did Redacted tell you that she flew to New Mexico that spring when she was 16? Yes. Did she meet Ghislaine Maxwell when she arrived in New Mexico? Yes, she did. How did she describe Maxwell's demeanor and attitude when she met her? She described Maxwell as being very charming. She gave her a tour of the house and Maxwell took Redacted shopping, which made her feel special. What does she remember talking about with Ghislaine Maxwell? They talked about school, homework, trips. Did she talk with her about applying to colleges? College? Yes. Did she talk about her classes in high school? Yes. Did she talk with her about the homework that she had to do that weekend? Yes. Did she talk with Maxwell about her family? Yes. Did she talk with her about her home life and living with her mother? Yes. From what Redacted told you, when she got there, who else was at the ranch besides Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein? It was just them. Was it just the three of them the entire weekend of the visit? Yes. Were there any other school kids there? No. When they were at the ranch, from what Redacted told you, did Maxwell say anything to Redacted about massages? Yes. Did you say anything to her about foot massages? Yes. What did Redacted tell you about that? Maxwell told Redacted to give Epstein a foot massage, and then showed her and instructed her how to do it. Redacted was a little uncomfortable, but Maxwell was joking around, so she just followed her lead. Did Redacted tell you what Maxwell and Epstein took her to the movies that weekend? No. Yeah. Yes. What did she tell you about the trip to the movies? She said that when they went outside the theatre, Maxwell was joking around and pulled Epstein's pants down a little bit. And then, once they went inside the theatre, Epstein, when they were sitting down, Epstein touched Redacted's leg. He rubbed her arm, held her hand, and this time Redacted felt that he wasn't trying to hide it from Maxwell. What was Redacted's reaction to all of this? She was uncomfortable. During the same weekend, was there another occasion where Maxwell talked about massages? Yes. What happened?
Oh, Clara, no, you're not going back there again. Clara, out. Good girl. Sorry, she literally just ran up and jumped on my PC, but trouble is, she's turned it down. Ooh, sound check. My microphone's still going. It says it's still going. It might just be the cats have been poking the microphone or something. They certainly like to get up to tricks. Yes. Meanwhile, Dexter has just been up here absolutely calm, but Clara's been a bit naughty. Anyway. Alright. So here. Maxwell had asked Redacted if she had ever had a massage, and Maxwell told her she could give her one. So Redacted was on her back, and Maxwell had pulled the sheet down, exposing her chest. She was nude from the top up, and proceeded to massage around her chest and breast area. From what Redacted told you when she was describing to you what she just described to the grand jury, how did she feel while this was happening? She felt really uncomfortable. Did Redacted also tell you about an incident that happened one morning when she was in New Mexico?
Yes. What did she tell you happened? She said she was in bed and Epstein came into the room and told her that he wanted to cuddle. So he lay down next to her and spooned her. She told him she had to go to the bathroom to get out of the situation. What was her reaction to that when Epstein got into her bed? She was uncomfortable. She didn't know what to do. Did Redacted go back home to Redacted when the weekend was over? Yes, she did. Did she tell anyone when she got home about what happened? No. Is that for the same reason you described earlier? Yes. Did Epstein end up paying for Redacted to go on a trip to Thailand that summer? Yes. Did Redacted have any contact with Maxwell or Epstein after that trip? Not that she recalled. When you interviewed Redacted, what was her demeanour like when she described her interactions with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? She became upset, emotional. Is Redacted currently pursuing a civil lawsuit against Maxwell and Epstein's estates? Yes, she is. What does Redacted do for a living now? She's a psychologist who works with trauma victims. During the course of this investigation, have you interviewed someone named Redacted? Yes. For today's purposes, I'm just going to refer to her as Redacted. How many times have you interviewed Redacted, approximately? Approximately 3 times. Turning to the next slide, is this a photograph of Redacted that she provided to you? Yes. And did she tell you that this was taken when she was in approximately 16 or 17 years old? Yes. Is Redacted's date of birth redacted? Yes. Did Redacted grow up in England? Yes, she did. Did she tell you that there came a point when she met Ghislaine Maxwell when she was about 17? Yes. What are you up to, Clara? What are you up to? No. You're not going behind the PC again. Sorry, cat. Wow. Yeah, get out of there. You need to stop being naughty. Anyway, let's carry on. I really don't want Clara to prematurely turn off the stream before I'm ready. She's done that before, and I wasn't happy with her. Anyway, how does she tell you that they met? She said they met for a mutual friend. Did she tell you that this would have happened around 1994 and 1995? Yes. And is that within the same time period that we've been talking about today? Yes. What happened after she was introduced to Ghislaine Maxwell from what she told you? She said Maxwell treated her like they were sisters. Her quote was, "like naughty schoolgirls," is how Maxwell treated with her. Did she tell you that Maxwell seemed to immediately take an interest in her? Yes. Did she tell you that they began spending time together in London? Yes. And just to be clear, was Maxwell in her 30s while this was happening? Yes. Did Redacted ever remember Maxwell ever talk about having a boyfriend named Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. What did she tell Redacted about that? Maxwell told Redacted that Epstein was going to like her. Did there come a time when she was 17 that Redacted described that Maxwell introduced her to Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. How does she describe that occurring? Epstein had flown to London. He was at Maxwell's residence in London, and Maxwell called Redacted over. So Redacted went over, and when she got there, Maxwell was saying to Epstein the words Redacted used was giving him a resume of her attributes, saying she's so pretty, she's so strong, and then Maxwell asked her to give Epstein a massage. Now, you testified just a moment ago that Redacted described to you that Maxwell asked her to give Epstein a massage during this first meeting. Is that correct? Yes. Did Maxwell say to her in sum and substance, "Since you're so strong, I'd appreciate it if you gave Jeffrey a massage, because he needs a massage every day or I get in trouble"? Yes, she said that. Is that what Redacted said to you in sum and substance? Yes. When that happened, did Redacted remember Maxwell leading her to a room in the house? Yes. What happened? When Redacted went in the room, Epstein was in a robe. He took his robe off and she started massaging him, and then he touched Redacted and pulled her hand to his penis. What does Redacted remember Epstein saying when he did this? Don't be frigid. What was her reaction to this happening from what she told you? She was taken aback by it. When this episode ended, Clara, get out of the way, and Redacted left the room, did she tell you that she remembered Maxwell being just outside the room when she left? Yes. Did she remember Maxwell calling her several days afterwards, or at some short period of time afterwards? Yes, she did. Did Redacted remember Maxwell saying to her on the phone call in sum and substance, "Well, aren't you a clever girl? Jeffrey was very impressed"? Yes. Shortly after this incident, does she remember Maxwell asking her to come back over to the house? Yes. And when she got there, did she tell you she remembered Maxwell saying to her, in substance, "Thank God you're here. If it's not you or someone, it falls to me"? Yes. Does she remember Maxwell bringing her up the stairs to the house on that occasion? Yes, she did. What does she remember happening when Maxwell opened the door to the room? Epstein was standing there nude. Does she remember Maxwell then saying, "I'll leave you guys to it"? Yes. After these first two encounters, did Epstein and Maxwell invite Redacted to travel with them to Palm Beach, US Virgin Islands, Paris, and New York for the next several years? Yes, they did. Does she remember whether these trips began before or after her 18th birthday? She couldn't remember specifically. Before these trips started, you were describing earlier when Redacted told you about the time that she spent with Maxwell when they first met when she was 17. Is that right? Yes. During these conversations, when she would spend time with Maxwell, did Redacted remember talking with her about her life and her family, and her personal circumstances with Maxwell? Fucking hell, Clara, get up, right? Am I going to have to pick you up? I'm going to have to pick you up. No. She's knocking over the fucking monitors. Move, cat. Want attention? So let me pick you up. No. Or you can stay there for the time being as well. Yep, I'll be affectionate with you in a couple of minutes. You just need to calm down. Okay, I'll go from the top. Yes, they did. Does she remember whether these trips began before or after her 18th birthday? She couldn't remember specifically. Before these trips started, you were describing earlier when Redacted told you about the time that she spent with Maxwell when they first met when she was 17. Is that right? Yes. Now she's on the cat tower. During these conversations, when she would spend time with Maxwell, did Redacted remember talking with her about her life and her family and her personal circumstances with Maxwell? Yes. Now, you testified a moment ago that Redacted told you that at some point she began traveling with Maxwell and Epstein, and she wasn't sure whether these trips started before she turned 18. Is that right? Yes. Did Redacted describe to you that Epstein sexually abused her during these trips, typically in the context of a sexualized massage? Yes, he did. Did Epstein give her money? Yes. Did she tell you that he would give her cash? Yes. Did she describe to you that the abuse included, among other things, Epstein groping her and using a massager device on her genitals? Yes. And was the massager device like a vibrator? Yes, it was. From what Redacted told you, was Maxwell in the room during these encounters? Maxwell wasn't in the room. What did she tell you would typically happen when Redacted left the room after these episodes? Was Maxwell typically nearby? Yes, she was usually right near the room. Does she remember Maxwell asking her after she left the room from one of these sessions, "How was it? Is he happy?" Yes. Did she also tell you that she remembers Maxwell telling her at some point, in some substance, "You know how he is when he's not happy, and you know what makes him happy. He has to have sex all the time. He's like a superhero." Yes, she said that. Did Redacted tell you about an incident that occurred after she turned 18 in Palm Beach when she was staying at the Palm Beach house? Yes. Did the incident she just described to you involve a schoolgirl outfit? Yes, it did. Could you please describe for the grand jury what Redacted told you about that incident? Redacted said that Maxwell had shown her to a bedroom, and on the bed was a schoolgirl outfit, and Maxwell told her when Redacted confronted her about it, and Maxwell said, "Well, I thought it would be adorable if you gave Jeffrey his tea in this." So Redacted felt like she had to put it on, and she put it on. So she put it on, took Epstein his tea, and Epstein then slapped her on the buttocks and reached under the skirt and touched her. Fucking Christ. What was her demeanor like when she described this incident to you? She was crying. She was very upset. When Redacted described seeing the schoolgirl outfit and talking to Maxwell about it, did she remember Maxwell telling her, "Don't be so frigid"? Yes. Does she remember that later in the day, after she had delivered to Epstein his tea and he assaulted her, does she remember Maxwell telling her, "I heard you did well"? Yes. During the years that Redacted was in contact with Maxwell and Epstein, did she remember whether Maxwell would ever ask her if she knew any other girls who could massage Epstein. Yes. Does she remember Maxwell saying in sum and substance, do you know anyone who can give him a blowjob today? I don't feel like it. Yes. Does she remember Maxwell saying, when she asked her to bring other girls, that they have to look young at least? Yes. From your conversations with Redacted, did she tell you whether or not she ever brought any other girls? Redacted didn't bring out any girls. Did she tell you why not? She didn't want anyone else to go through that. From your interviews with Redacted, did she tell you that there came a time when she was in her early 20s when she stopped travelling with Maxwell and Epstein? Yes. Was she struggling with substance abuse at that point? Yes, she was. Oh, dear. So sad. Did she tell you that she got sober in her 20s? Yes, she did. What is her current profession? She runs a non-profit for people who struggle with addiction and trauma. Did Redacted provide you with several emails that she exchanged with Epstein in the early 2000s? Yes, she did. And were those emails very friendly in tone? Yes, they were. What did she say to you when you talked with her about these emails? She says she didn't, at the time, want to acknowledge what was going on to her, that looking back on it's different. Did your squad of the FBI execute a search warrant at Jeffrey Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan in July 2019? Yes. Did you personally participate in the search of Epstein's residence? Yes, I did. Did the townhouse include a massage room? Yes. Have you yourself been in that massage room? Yes, I have. Could you please describe for the grand jury what that massage room looked like? It was dark. It had dark draperies covering the windows. There was a massage table. There were oils. There was a handheld massager in there along with handcuffs, a whip, and along the walls were nude photographs of young females. I believe you testified a moment ago that Redacted told you that there was a time when Maxwell asked her to wear a schoolgirl outfit for Epstein when they were in Palm Beach. Did you find a schoolgirl outfit in Epstein's New York townhouse? Yes, we did. Where did you find it? It was found in a room next to the massage room. And to be clear, did the FBI find sex toys during the search? Yes. What was found? Butt plugs, dildo, vibrators? We've talked about 3 minor girls today. Redacted, Redacted, and Redacted. Is that right? Yes. Have you reviewed the proposed indictment marked Grand Jury Exhibit 1? Yes, I have. Is Redacted the individual referred to as Victim 1 in the proposed indictment? Yes. Is Redacted the individual referred to as Victim 2 in the proposed indictment? Yes. Is Redacted the individual referred to as Victim 3 in the indictment? Yes. During all of Maxwell's interactions with the victims, when they were underage girls, based on the time frame and your knowledge of Maxwell's birth date, was she in her 30s? Yes, she was. Just one moment. All right, switching gears. Have you become aware that in or about 2016, Maxwell gave sworn testimony in a civil deposition in connection with a lawsuit? Yes. Could you please explain for the grand jury what is a deposition? It is a statement made under oath. And in the course of civil litigation, is it common for witnesses or the parties of the lawsuit to give a deposition under oath where they testify about the substance of the case? Yes. And is deposition testimony live and in person and under oath? Yes. Is a court reporter present when a deposition takes place? Yes. Now, before we talk about Maxwell's deposition testimony, I want to talk with you about the lawsuit that the testimony was about. Have you become aware that in or about 2015, an individual named Redacted filed a lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell here in the Southern District of New York? Yes. And was Redacted suing Maxwell for defamation? Yes, she was. Was the lawsuit captioned Redacted against Ghislaine Maxwell with docket number 15SV, CV I should say, 7433 here in the Southern District of New York? Yes. Generally speaking, in broad strokes, what was the lawsuit about? What was the claim that Redacted was bringing against Maxwell? Redacted has stated that she had been sexually abused by Epstein and Maxwell as a minor. Maxwell came forward publicly and called her a liar, so Redacted sued her for defamation. MS Redacted. Oh, sorry, Ms. Redacted. So just a small legal instruction on this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, I instruct you that the allegations in the lawsuit are not being presented to you as evidence that those incidents occurred. I instruct you that you should not consider those allegations for their truth. Instead, the circumstances of the lawsuit are being presented to you so that you can consider the context of the case and the circumstances under which Maxwell made statements under oath. By Ms. Redacted. Anyway, back to Q. Turning back to the deposition, did Maxwell's deposition take place over 2 different days? Yes. On both days, did she give testimony in Manhattan? Yes, she did. Is that where the deposition took place? Yes. And on both days, was Maxwell sworn under oath? Yes. If you could flip through the remaining slides in the presentation, do those slides contain true and accurate excerpts of the transcript of that deposition? Yes. Turning to the next slide, is this the cover page of the transcript of the first deposition that took place on April 20th, 2016? Yes. And does it have the same caption on it? Yes, it does. Turning to the next slide, is this an excerpt from the transcript? Yes. I imagine the grand jurors can't read it from their seats, so if you could read it with me, I'll read the questions, and if you could read the answers. Did Jeffrey Epstein have a scheme to recruit underage girls for underage massages? And it appears there was an objection from the lawyer. Question. If you know. Answer. I don't know what you are talking about. Just to be clear with the question and answer, is the answer here Maxwell's testimony? Yes. Just to be clear, you testified earlier that Redacted participated in sexualized massages with Epstein and Maxwell, is that right? Yes. And Redacted was a minor when that occurred? Yes. And did you also testify earlier that Redacted told you that Maxwell asked her to give Epstein massages when she was a minor? Yes. If you could turn to the next slide, please. Is this another excerpt from that same deposition? Yes, it is. All right. I'll read the question and you can read the answer. Question. List all the people under the age of 18 that you've interacted with at any of Jeffrey Epstein's properties. Maxwell's answer. I'm not aware of anybody that I interacted with, other than obviously Redacted, who is 17 at this point. Just to be clear, you testified earlier about 2 girls under the age of 18 who interacted with Maxwell at Epstein's properties, is that correct? Yes. And those individuals were Redacted and Redacted, who told you that, correct? Yes, that's correct. Turning to the next slide, is this the cover page of the transcript from the deposition that took place on July 22nd, 2016? Yes. And again, was this Maxwell giving testimony as part of the testimony under oath here in Manhattan? Yes. If you could please turn to the next slide. Is that an excerpt? Are these 2 excerpts from that deposition? Yes. Again, I'll read the questions if you could please read the answers. Question. Were you aware of the presence of sex toys or devices used in sexual activities in Mr. Epstein's Palm Beach house? There's an objection from the lawyer. Maxwell's answer. No, not that I recall. Do you know whether Mr. Epstein possessed sex toys or devices used in sexual activities? There's an objection from the lawyer. Maxwell's answer. No. Just to be clear, you testified earlier that Redacted told you he found sex toys in the massage room in Palm Beach, and also that he had seen that Maxwell had a basket of sex toys in her closet there. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. And is it correct that you testified earlier that Epstein had used a vibrator on Redacted? Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. And did you also testify earlier that Redacted told you he did that as well? Yes, that's correct. And did you also testify earlier that sex toys were found by the police in the Palm Beach house in 2005, is that right? Yes. And did you also testify earlier that the FBI found sex toys in Epstein's New York City townhouse in 2019? Yes, that's correct. If you could please turn to the next slide. This is on page 27. Are these also excerpts from that same deposition? Yes. Again, I'll read the questions if you could please read the answers. Questions. Other than yourself and the blonde and brunette that you have identified as having been involved in freeway sexual activities, with whom did Mr. Epstein have sexual activities? There's an objection from the lawyer. Maxwell's answer. I wasn't aware that he was having sexual activities with anyone when I was with him other than myself. Question. I want to be sure that I'm clear. Is it your testimony that in the 1990s and 2000s you were not aware that Mr. Epstein was having sexual activities with anyone other than yourself and the blonde and brunette on those few occasions when they were involved with you? Maxwell's testimony. That is my testimony. That is correct. Have you reviewed the deposition transcript? Yes. In full. Now, the excerpt we just read has a reference to a blonde and brunette. Are those individuals completely different from the individuals we've been talking about today? Yes. Just to be clear, is it correct that you testified earlier that Redacted and Redacted told you that Epstein sexually abused them repeatedly? Is that correct? Yes. And did you also testify earlier that Maxwell was occasionally present when Epstein was abusing Redacted based on what she told you? Yes, that's correct. Turning to the next slide. Is this also an excerpt from the same deposition? I'm sorry? I'm so sorry. Turning to the next slide on page 28. Is this also an excerpt from the same deposition? Yes. Thank you. Okay, again, if we could read that together, I'll take the question if you could take the answer. Question, let's just tie that down. Is it your testimony that you've never given anybody a massage? Maxwell's answer, I have not given anyone a massage. You never gave Mr. Epstein a massage, is that your testimony? Maxwell's answer, that is my testimony. You never gave Redacted a massage, is that your testimony? Maxwell's answer, I never gave Redacted a massage. Just to be clear, as you testified earlier, is it correct that Redacted told you that Maxwell gave her a massage when they were in New Mexico? Yes. Have you told the grand jury everything that you know about this case, or have you just answered the questions that I've asked? I've just answered the questions you've asked. And when you testified about the documents that you reviewed, or the conversations that you had with others, were you testifying to the exact words used, or just the substance of the documents or conversations? The substance. And are you willing to return to the grand jury if the grand jury has any further questions for you? Yes. Ms. Redacted. With the foreperson's permission, I'd ask that the witness be excused at this time. You're excused. Ms. Redacted. Thank you. Witness excused. Time noted, 11:41 a.m. Colloquy follows. Certificate. I hereby certify that the foregoing is a true and accurate transcription, to the best of my skill and ability, from my electronic notes of this proceeding. July 6, 2020. Redacted, Acting Grand Jury Reporter, Free State Reporting, Inc. Now, I'm just going to see what's in this next one, because apparently it looks like there's 8 files here. Yeah, fuck that, I'm not doing that. Okay. As you can see, my voice is breaking a little bit. I'm stuttering and I'm getting a little bit tired. And you might be able to hear my cats meowing in the background. I need to play with them and give them attention before I go to bed. So I'm going to go do that. They've waited very, very patiently. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been, well, coming up to almost 3 hours at this point. So I'm glad we got a little bit done. Wasn't able to complete dataset 6, but this is a lot of juicy, narratable stuff that I can do. Although juicy is perhaps not a good word to describe some of the stuff that happened. It did make me genuinely angry in places. I mean, if it's possible to hate somebody even more than Epstein, I certainly hate Maxwell. Because they still got her, the police keep informing her, and she refuses to fold on her conspirators. Which is really annoying. I think they should treat her much more harshly until she does. Legally, of course. Anyway, apart from that, I'm glad you guys are showing up. I'm not going to redirect or raid any other stream from here. I don't think it's right. I mean, especially because this is depressing as hell, and I'm sure people can find their own ways to sort of decompress. It's something I will do in future. Is when I've done fun streams, I will redirect it to a worthy streamer that could probably do with the numbers. But because we've got a small audience live at the moment, and because it's a depressing subject, I'm just going to end it here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will say goodbye to you. My cats say goodbye to you. Yes, you do. And I'll see you guys next time, which will probably be tomorrow. Friday, I'm probably not going to record Epstein because I've joined a tabletop game. Yeah, I need to have like one day where I'm doing something sort of peaceful. And me being me, that doesn't necessarily mean going out. Even though I should. I definitely should. I've got the weekend for that though. Anyway,